Yeah, we should be back now. Okay. I'm not sure about the YouTube stream, if it's gonna cut off or anything, but looks like it's gonna show the whole new stream. Dang it. So I was trying not to do. Fix this again. Let's just fix it again while we do this. Oh, I'm just doing this fix right there. Stupid how they have to fix the whole thing though. That's so annoying. Yo, let's go. We got another subscriber. We're up to 370, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Streams are pretty decent. Okay. Sick, dude. Loving this. I got some more clips for later too. I need to get my full video edited because that's what I'm kind of waiting on right now, just to get that fully edited, which is partially done. It's partially done, but yeah. Sick, we got a game. Let's go.
Get ready, soldier.
There we go. Guys, I heard that they done.
We're landing. Let's review the objectives. Keep them in mind. Complete the mission for reward. Find high-value items and extract.
I'd say we just go straight admin again. I'm not going to go straight admin after on this one. Just go take off, you know?
Keep the following in mind. Shoot, loot, and time to scoop.
Let's
Stay
do
alert.
it, guys.
Don't fall behind.
Let's do it. We're gonna grab this first. Last time I didn't. I had one good item out of that, and now I'm worried I'm missing it. I'm not gonna miss that again. Pmsl focus and it worries me so bad.
Let's get the.
We're just gonna be a whole person. I don't have a chest rig? Oh fuck. We're so close. Yes, do all 3 golds. I thought I put a chest rig on, bro. I don't have my med. Oh my fucking hell. Alright, so this could be an interesting game. Oh shit, oh my god. Oh, that's the bad stuff. Okay, get out of here. This should be fine. So having no meds is actually gonna suck. Data blueprints, let's go. Dude, we got 4 golds already, dude. Let's go, dude. Our luck right now is on point. But going into this game, not so much. Most of them like don't have any meds or chest or anything. What a whole has helmet? That's wild.
Gunfire!
I'm getting away. They're not going to fast no. Death. Oh my fucking god. I'm so dead now. My meds. I had to extinguish my fucking soul. I'm so quick now. I pretty much just gotta get myself in a bit. Cause like... I'm just gonna take it just to let me get out the way. Oh my god, bro. Yo, metal? I have my fucking home. I'm just gonna take myself in the bridge because literally like, I can't keep doing this with my legs. Like I literally can't. I don't know how I didn't get a fucking chest rig. I think I can get out of here and go to my teammate over there and go get a chest rig with some meds. But I have to sneakily get out of here. Okay, that's not sneaky. Just downright cruel. Putting him right there where I need to go. Like, it's just outright fuck. We're doing this until I get some like air chest rig. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, I just don't know how I forgot the chest rig. I thought I put one on. Oh, that sucks, dude. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Yo, the fuck? Yeah, no, bro. Fuck. Hopefully he got me. Hopefully he got me. He got me, bro.
I'm reloading.
Let's go.
Hold on, I'll get you up.
He's looting the guy. Oh no. That's crazy, bro. I swear if he doesn't fucking res me, I'm actually gonna crash out. Okay.
Giving first aid.
I don't care about the guys, I just need meds that I just need, bro. I was actually gonna crash out for a second.
You hear me?
No, oh my fucking god, dude.
Yeah, I need a hand.
Just don't have any meds, bro.
Get up. Fight.
No, bro, no, oh my god. Just don't have any meds, bro.
Ready for another fight. Gunfire.
Alright, so do I have... this.
I gotta go check.
We're gonna do some more things. Half okay.
Operator, prepare to clear the garrison and crack the safe.
Enemies closing in.
Meds, please, Hanks. That's all I need right now, bro.
Gunfire.
Alright, we can at least get up to
Strike out.
I'll open it, you can have the loot. He's still the loot. Oh my god, bro. Fuck off. No, I'm letting him have it. You can have it. That's fine.
Swapping knives.
Oh my god, bro.
Excellent, operator. You've completed the mission.
No, oh my god, I'm about to die again, bro. I just need something, bro. Please give me meds again. I literally can't do anything, bro. If I even see it, bro, I'm fucking dead again. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm gonna go with the guys that just killed over here. So let me kill people over there. And see if I can get anything. Because, oh my god, bro. This is terrible. There you go. Like, even on my loot runs, I have meth with me. Unless I have nothing. I don't even know, like, I just know who killed people, but I don't even know where. Oh my Can't show off this is chest here. I need all the bullshit though. But I have meds. Alright, we should be semi-okay now. Why should I bring it back to your feet? It's fucking stupid. Like, it's not even dead loot. Like, what? I like it'll bring that back to your team. That's a stupid thing. This I don't need to do anything else, so let's see if we put more in as well. So if we didn't kill messages with the range, which yeah, no. These couple of ones. Damn, bro. What the fuck? Backpack that shit down, you know. That's fine. So yeah, a little bit of time to wait, a little bit more stuff if we come in. I don't think anyone got the other, like, safe and zero damage, so I might, or half an enemy. So we might be going back for that, actually.
Let's make it quick.
And can go back to that. So that I can get it safe. And finish loading the I know we didn't get all of it. At least I didn't. I have no idea about the way that I was going to do. So we'll gotta find out.
Ready to fire!
No. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who actually came here and got it. Pretty sure. I need all this. I didn't like this one.
Come on, let's fight!
Yeah, no, this is all mine, so. Sick.
Great. Eliminate the high-value target and get your reward. Excellent, operator. You've completed the mission.
Yeah, because I've already did all this stuff, so. Elevator.
Be cautious. The elevator in Zero Dam is activated. You can extract from there now.
Strike out!
didn't know that was the last one. Yeah, I didn't even know they don't play either people. That's crazy. Someone like sliced all of this shit. God damn. That was a breach specialist too. Fuck, dude. I have a 4-3 breach specialist in myself. Yo, the hard skin is so crazy. Like, I need that for a mission, so those just have to buy it. That's wild. I'm trying to do one more thing and then go to the video. Create a big specialist. Put into the red system. I went through it this game though in time.
Bird ETA is 1 minute.
Okay, I didn't expect it. Nice. Wait, there's Wi-Fi coming, okay. Okay, now that we know that we're okay, we can actually survive and not die.
Bird is 30 seconds out.
Alright, that game was stressful. I can't believe I forgot a chest loot though. Got 6 yellows, dude.
10 seconds left. Be ready to go.
Thank God, bro.
The exit. Welcome back.
That was actually just such a bad game. We didn't get a whole lot out of it, but it's still hard game, it's fine. I'll take that. Just with how that game actually went. Well, how that game actually went versus how it should have gone, 2 totally different stories. Because holy shit. Because not me dying twice the bots and then getting shot in the back on the other time. I think it's crazy. Alright, let's go through this mission thing real fast. Just don't remember which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeah. Select the microscope. Okay. I'll do that. I should just get this out the way because I need 70 round mag and a zoom scope. So we got the new control over 60. 690 so for this one, so the inputs. This is our best one for you. Let's see. Control the suppressor. Okay, plus 6 for that is not bad. I'll just take that. Okay, plus 12. No. Do that. We'll do the. got an M4? God damn. That's crazy. Lost a vector for that whole mission. It's fucking stupid, bro. Alright, so let's cover my notes again. I don't want to keep. The problem is that I need that for something and I don't remember what. I thought it was a mission, but apparently not. Yeah, I should put all my ammo and kind of use it again. Try to get that fucking mission thing for it. So, alright, let's just do this. So, all this shit. And go ahead and back up. Look at this. I should kill 5 enemies, so we can all in. What a fiasco. Alright, this easy, bro. God damn. I have to go text someone back. What the? Alright. This I got off of 52, no one. But we're not gonna start the restore intros. One or two more games, and then we'll go to America's Video Party. We'll go into an America's Video Party, yeah. Oh, I need to go into a normal one.
Understanding your objectives helps you make the right decisions. Begin your mission. We'll provide all the support you need.
So I got off on let me find my copyright music and my non-copyright music. And yes, the list. an NCS playlist. Just don't wonder if I have unsaved or something because I'm not seeing anything. The background music for now. Oh, there it is. Let's do this. Yeah, this is the one. Extreme videos.
I got your back.
Because I need to add like the thing in the like my description and stuff, but I'm trying to figure out how I can do that after this.
We're landing. Let's review the objectives. Keep them in mind. Complete the mission for rewards. Find high-value items and extract.
Actually, if we can't, if I end up camping the guys filming visitors on this, we should be chilling. They're probably going to be ready for it, but an option.
Keep the following in mind. Shoot, loot, then time to scoop.
Get ready. It's go time.
I would like to throw it like that. Dude, this guy's fucking huge, bro. He's ready for this. He knows how this works. Let's see if we can get up here over here.
Reloading. Cover me. Target located. Down, grenade.
Crazy, I just got that shit so fast. I can see you guys are okay. This guy took his gun already? Holy shit, bro. What's that guy doing? Doesn't like the fire, dude. I'm just gonna go ahead and take this. Jesus. There's so much ammo now.
Changing mags.
Tracking.
Holy shit, bro. Okay, I gotta go. I'm just gonna put one down.
Reloading. Cover me.
Red. Give me red. Please give me red. No! Bro, I just haven't got any reds today. That's crazy, actually.
Stay clear of the blast.
Bro, how did he not die? He just lasered that fuck out of him. How did he not die? That's crazy. I thought he would have died. I didn't have gun armor or anything, but still. I also didn't expect him to be in the fucking elevator, the fuck. Like, that was wild to me. Did I get, so did I do anything to that mission? Okay, 5 enemies on the side, yeah.
Choose a battlefield that allows you to showcase your strengths.
Because we're running out of shit. Not really good. I want to use my shit. Okay, so there's still good intros.
I got your back.
We're landing. Let's review the objectives. Keep them in mind. Complete the mission for rewards. Find high-value items and extract.
Dang, bro. We're spawned. Well, we have wall breakers, so.
Keep the following in mind. Shoot, loot, then time to scoop.
Alright guys, where we want to go?
All objectives understood?
Still gonna try getting you guys. Probably are. Good wall.
Yo, there's a team, there's a team. Yeah, there's already a team upstairs where the guns are at.
Look out, grenade! Changing knife.
Get the dog. Oh shit, oh, fuck, dude. Didn't know he was gonna be right there. Like right there, right there.
Detected.
Fuck! There's a whole other team.
I think this guy is shot because he doesn't continue to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, this really need to get up there. Shit. Alright. Oh
You
god.
still see them there? Oh, for insurance, Ken, yeah, but she could also see what happened to try to her place.
Bro. Crazy.
We already took out 3 people, there's 3 left though, the whole other team.
Yeah, she's not getting us, bro. We got about a minute 40. I mean, possibly, but. Probably not just this up.
They were up where my body was, up on top of that plank there.
No secrets under my arrow. Enemy located.
Here we go.
Crazy just sitting here watching this, bro.
Well, apparently there's internal tools.
I'm not sitting here watching this bitch, bro. Hell no. We just got body like that. It's alright, we just had a good ticket, so. So one more gear ticket. Wait, let's see. Okay, what map is available?
Zero Dam is full of dangers. Be very careful.
40 minutes. I'm gonna run a sniper this game just for fun. Just for funsies, because why not?
Got your back.
We're landing. Let's review the objectives. Keep them in mind. Complete the mission for rewards. Find high-value items and extract. Keep the following in mind. Shoot, loot, then time to scoop.
We don't have much time. Act swiftly.
Oh, we don't have it. I don't even have bandages? Bro, that's crazy. Looks like I really just gotta kill people. I think I got it. I think I got it. Just trying to get the other one. I'm getting all these fucking cases. Fuck those shit. Okay. I guess I'm down this one. Bro, how can I get that? I thought there was a staircase right there. Oh, dude. I thought I was just getting the rest of these. No problem.
Finish them all.
Mom. Bro, the loot today has been kind of mid. Not gonna lie. Come on, small save. Please give me a red, bro. Oh my god. He was so weird, bro. That's fucking... Loot today, mid AF. Oh damn, he moved out the window for me. So sorry, he's something good.
Reloading. Cover me. Can't do me like that, bro. That is so much like... These guys are just having the meds. I need some meds, bro. I need some meds, bro. I need some meds, bro. Leave me alone. Oh shit, that guy's going downstairs. Fuck. Gotta get my shit, gotta get my shit, gotta get my shit, gotta get it.
Exoskeleton activated.
Bro!
Obrigado.
No. Red! Oh my god. My god, no. Bro, the loot, terrible. Dog shit. Bro, I would miss. Isn't there wallbreaks on this?
See what goods are in here.
What was the last one? Invading myself there.
Stay clear of the blast. Swapping mags. Calm down. You're fine.
Just use the ammo to fight, huh? That's crazy. You can have the loot, I don't care. Just use the ammo to fight him. The head of the sniper. Oh, you got the meds, that's just
Check for anything useful. Loading ammo.
Jeez. Crazy. Still couldn't pick these.
Overload activated.
They wouldn't use it as like, it's like, no, do this.
Tracking enemy.
Move over to the recording session.
Extract here.
I think if you can, oh yeah, which,
Strike out.
perfect timing for the stream though, for that. Like, that was literally perfect. Alright.
Ready to detonate.
The X the basket. Welcome back.
Could have done better there.
It's okay, not bad. Yeah, let's go through this one first. The helmet, history, and the backpack, and go here. And then sell all the shit. Tell me about the backpack. PPAK. Probably just gonna draw off bet. This backpack. Sick. Alright. Now that we got that out of the way, close restream. Change this. Mobile. my tag still says Alpha Force, but it's fine. Alright, I'm going to close it down here. Let's this. For the moment. This over here. Alright. Now we got
Any clashes here on the first day of PMSL America's 2025 spring split, because that's going to be able to tell a lot. And honestly, I'm seeing some teams really close there in boot camp. I see Export. I'm not able to see just yet who's the other team though.
Yeah, it's looking maybe a little bit of stubborn gameplay. These players definitely had some matches to scrim, see where these other squads drop, and it looks like it's going to be none other than Influence Rage taking it up against X-Force. No knocks hit on either squad here, but the interesting part about this fight is they both opted to land in the lobster.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause that for a second. Alright, we just had to not get this all mixed up. Just had to get my thing set back up. So now I can do this super fast. Alright, let's start back.
Building this main sort of section of boot camp.
X-Force
Usually
and
you see
Influence
one of
Rage
these
already,
squads land on the
that's too
outside
easy.
and take a fair 4v4, but the scary part about this, and Taylor, I know you're a big fan of it, is going to be these early game fights. With it being Sandhawk, there's always that third party coming in hot. It's never going to be this 4v4 in boot camp.
Dude. He's got a shotgun
Well,
too.
and that's the thing about those third parties,
they're
right?
done. X-Force
Finishing
is done,
fights when
dude.
it comes to BRs, finishing them quickly is important and imperative, because the longer the fights extend, the more of an opportunity for other teams who are hungry to get eliminations, who are hungry to third party, start moving in, right? Now, sometimes it's unavoidable. The fights just will naturally extend, and it doesn't make sense to get aggressive. But I stand by the points. You know, finishing off your fights early is important. But granted, it seems like these are going to be the only two teams here anyways, Influence Rage and X-Force. But this excites me. It does, not only because Influence Rage is on our screen, a talented team throughout PMSL Americas, but also X-Force. A chance to start off strong. And, of course, I mentioned 24K, Fate, Aleem, right? You've got some talented members. This is an opportunity for North America to show their chops early on in the first Blood Fight 7.
And I'm enjoying what Vatlik is doing here, trying to back off a little bit, be more of an anchor, be more of a getting a different angle on this fight right here. And now for Exports, it becomes a question of, do you actually want to end up taking this fight?
Oh, he
and I'm
almost
pretty
got
sure
him
if they
too.
do end up getting knocked, they're gonna go for it. But
Oh, shit,
Aleem
bro.
ends up getting knocked. They're trying to make a rotation back
Okay.
towards where Vatlik is at. This is gonna be a big situation here. 24K not being able to fully back up, slowing Influence Rage down there. Interested to see what these two teams are going to be doing, if they are going to continue with this hot drops later on different days. But for right now, Export not wanting to fully commit to this engagement, even though they have the higher hand in regards to numbers.
Yeah, they're hoping Influence Rage makes the first move, and it seems like they have, at least with the damage onto Aleem, but it wasn't enough to take him. Seems like they have, at least with the damage onto Aleem, but it wasn't enough to take him down. And X-Force, they're happy for that. Having this rooftop control from Lorenzen is going to be big. He's going to be able to oversight be that UAV, if you will, for the side of Influence Rage onto the X-Force fight. He can also jump down potentially and make some moves. More importantly, 24K really can't go anywhere. And if he does decide to make it up, the question is, does he know where Lorenzen is at?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a matter of if Fate or Valent can spot this player on the roof. You don't want to be spreading out too much early on. You already have the one-man player advantage from 24K. I believe he was able to thirst Diego with that AK early on. And this is the scary thing about these early game hot drops. Obviously, we want to be seeing those sort of 5.56 weapons, a shotgun as your secondary be the loadout you rock. But when you have these early game fights, you don't always get the loadout you want. And fortunately for X-Force, they do get that early initiative knock and thirst, but they gotta play it slow. So it actually looks like Influence Rage is gonna be backing up. X-Force potentially just kind of relaxing here. The zone shift is towards that southern side, right around that Pine section. So both these teams, even though they're in the zone, with it being stage 1, you're definitely gonna have to move early to get yourself closer to that center point of the match.
Something that these teams need to keep an eye on as well is that All Glory Gaming was able to take care of United for Gaming, and they have moved up now towards the mountain, close to boot camp. So third party might be on.
I don't know like any of the teams. This is like all new teams. I know like some of the other teams.
Keep a close eye on here. None of the 9C Globen. Colgo, the MVP of the last season for Pmsl, America's Boss Play. He's gonna be able to clutch it up right there, slowing down SVG, and this is why. This is the it factor of why I want to see how this team can perform if the synergy is there between the teammates, because we know they definitely not lacking skill.
Yeah, I mean,
that's 2 teams already gone, by the way, Enigma. Now 3 teams, I should say. Vios, Savage, United for Gaming already wiped off. Pmsl 2025 is starting up hot.
Yeah, and it's, I think, just a matter of because we're playing Sandhawk as the first match. This is the warm-up. Last year we saw it all about being that sort of X factor, that mental reset, but when you have it at the very beginning of the tournament days, this is more about you honestly getting warmed up and getting prepared to take these early game engagements. So all these squads that are getting those eliminations early on, they're going to be going into that Erangel next match really feeling themselves in these early game engagements, and I think that was a struggle, especially for NA teams last year, was those early few zones, stage 1 through 3 of not being comfortable taking some of these 4v4 fights. So I'm expecting X-Force, hopefully off of, even though it's just one elimination, to kind of stand true and be able to work through the rest of the matches, but only time will tell, of course. A lot of these teams looking to make some rotations early on, Shoot to Survive being one of them, looking for that sort of hot-in camp onto ROW, but seems like they were spotted out. A lot of these teams, this is kind of the interesting part of Sandhawk, right, Seven? We've seen it so much over the last few years of as soon as you get out of your drop point, your sort of compound, even the POI that you land at, there's always going to be eyes kind of staring at you, and you're never safe to make any of these sorts of rotations early on.
Exactly, and I'm actually with you in regards to seeing what X-Force is going to be able to do here, because even though they didn't end up flushing out that team that landed with them Influence Rage, they were able to at least get that one elimination. But this is the main worry for me, maybe taking a little bit too long there with the stalemate that they had in boot camp, and now having to worry about how All Glory Gaming is going to be holding them down. More than likely, they're going to be waiting for the next circle before they end up making a move. But showing maturity here from X-Force, not willing to fully commit, even though they had a numbers advantage to that actual hot drop, to that early fight, and deciding to back off and just take 1 point. Little things like that can definitely benefit them in the long run.
So I'm looking at Fran overlooking Loops. You got meanwhile, the rest of the AGG roster overlooking X-Force. They're keeping 2 teams in check. My only concern is they bite off of them more than they can chew, and I really don't want Fran from AGG to get caught off guard by Loops. But I think everybody's kind of settled down. After all, they are center zone. So at this point, getting that intel, getting the information of everyone in front of you is truly important. And nobody needs to get too aggressive. Nobody needs to make a desperate move. Now, we do look at the map. The zone will shift. You got several teams who are going to be on the northern side, forced to move in. This is going to be one of them.
Oh, man. Cheap rotation, Rolls of War. They were dealing with Shoot to Survive on that western edge of the bridge, but Wolves Esports, they dropped to that Paradise. They instantly rotated, I believe, over here to hit that bridge camp. But Seven, you looked at it, that map shift, that zone all the way to the east. I think that's honestly a blessing for X-Force, right? They're able to hopefully just rotate out of boot camp, because if AGG got any portion of that zone where they're centered up, I mean, you're never making that cross. We've seen it so many times of teams just getting absolutely lasered going up the mountain. But oh man, Baton, he's not even stopping on the mountain. He's going straight forward with Juancha right above him, and Juancha, he's actually forcing the 1v1, trying to play it early on with the S12, but luckily Doran, he's came up, given the support, grouped together, don't need to rush it, just in the blue zone. Luckily a good nade makes it quick and easy for him.
Wancho getting a little bit antsy there, but ultimately Doran, he was getting damaged there from the zone, but as well he was getting shot by somebody else. I wonder if maybe it was somebody there from row. Wancho did get a little bit anxious. He wanted to go for that fight and he ended up backing off. One thing that you were mentioning too in regards to that
circle,
we
he got
a chance
shot
to
from.
see
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, he kind of allows
That's like
X-Force
a
to
one
just
shot
be
of like
patient. They don't
laser
have
damage.
to
It's
fully
crazy,
push
bro.
out. They have to
That's
play.
so
They can
funny.
actually play their time and hope that somebody else is gonna end up distracting AGG. Meanwhile, though, we do have a fight here. It's gonna be Alpha 7. Alpha 7 being able to clutch out right there. VIP is gone, and Alpha 7, luckily for them, Carrillo, even though he gets knocked, he's gonna get picked up again.
Yeah, it's funny, you were setting up the fight. The fight was already over. Alpha 7 eliminates VIP that quickly. No surprise, VIP again, the champions. They started off fall season last year very, very sloppy, very slow. I started questioning, is this roster truly bringing their A game? But if you remember, you go back to spring season, right? It was Alpha 7 versus Team Liquid spring season last year, and Alpha 7 started off hot and heavy. And I think now, at least for me, 7, it feels like Alpha 7 most likely is going to take this series, this PMSL America spring season, very seriously. They want to dominate their competition. The reason why is because winning this, obviously top 3, you go to EWC. And what does that mean? Not only big money once again, but also reclaiming your throne as the kings of EWC, which Alpha 7 currently is.
That is correct. Getting a chance to defend that championship that they were able to get last year. Now, the biggest thing for Alpha 7, as we're going to be switching over to a different fight, I do want to get a chance to talk about them a little bit more, but let's see what happens here.
Okay, S2S is cooked. They made a big mistake. Yeah.
I was mentioning how
They
aggressive
made a huge mistake out there.
and it
Holy
wasn't
shit.
even a fair fight. S2, they didn't even have a fighting chance, but going back to Alpha 7, they do have Squash now in their squad. This player has been with them for a long time. He wasn't able to play for, I think at least was 2 years, but now we are here in a situation where he can actually be with this squad. There was rumors that Colega, the player that is in 9C Global, was going to end up going to Alpha 7. That never ended up happening. So for Squash, a player that's able to frag out, to that be added to the Alpha 7, which is known for fragging out,
so
a lot of people currently have
let's see. So zone shifted down. So Wolves would be smart to go to like here in this corner or on the edge of Quarry, because A, you have the opening. I don't know if they have cars or not, but if they have cars, A car, go there. That's probably your best spot. Or like scout this like rock area. Influence Rage and X-Force, they're just fucked. They're gonna have to fight each other to get in or get shot in the back and get forced by AGG because they're overlooking this. So that's gonna be wild.
So picking up Squash is an interesting
The
one.
other teams they shouldn't need to fight once they start moving.
And I think it'd be just fine.
Probably have to
After all,
fight
this
one
is
of
kind
the
of your
two
honeymoon
teams,
phase
like
when it comes to
Team Liquid
PMSL
or
America's for Squash. He's
Manzi.
back on the roster, and I think he's going to be playing all out to show why he belongs on the best roster in the world, and obviously PMSL Americas. Things slow down just a little bit as we transition into stage 3, and we do notice, or at least I notice, Alpha 7 is going to be dead center. Loops, AGG, X-Force all still going to be kind of hanging around the same area as they typically have, and X-Force does have to rotate in. For AGG, they've been playing this gatekeeper role. They are going to be on the outskirts. Luckily for them, they do have Fren. I mentioned Fren a bit earlier, who was keeping Loops in check. He's going to be inside the zone, and for the rest of his teammates, they've got a clear and easy transition over to where Fren is at, and then they can continue to maybe attack Loops. I'm expecting going into stage 4 when they have to eventually continue to move forward. But AGG got a team wipe early on. After that, they've just been playing the scouting role. They're playing smart. They're working on their positioning. Enigma, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, it's just if you're saying AGG has to fight into Loops later on, that's really a tall order to ask, because Loops, in my eyes, has the better positioning. If the zone was a shift away or even on top of them, AGG, they have to come down the mountain. They got to work towards your compound. And unfortunately for them, they've kind of just been a little bit too stagnant in my eyes. Seeing that circle shift, they could have maybe taken either a vehicle if they had it, or made that earlier rotation with Fran already being so far into the zone compared to the rest of his members. I'm surprised they didn't want to play it too active, but a lot of these teams, maybe AGG felt they could get a few more eliminations on that sort of mountain camp.
Really playing the Nova strat from like 2 years ago.
Seems like a lot of the teams, including Inco Gaming, X-Force, Influence Rage, they all opted just to rotate away from that boot camp hillside. But intense game, this is going to be all the way up on that northern side. We saw that Rolls of War player potentially getting
did
that
not
solo
expect that to
shots
go.
going down, but opting not to. And with it being stage 3, I know that damage from the zone isn't going to be too high on some of these squads, but the sad part for intense games is it's not going to be just 1, not even 2, but 3 squads forced onto this northern edge. And unfortunately for them, this northern mountaintop, there's really not a lot of room to play.
Oh, dang.
Ooh, X-Force, by the
Okay,
way,
so
I
Wolves
was
caught him
able
out.
to
That's
see
what I'm
there
saying.
on the
They have to fight
horizon,
either
X-Force
X-Force
was
or
able to get out of boot
or
camp
Wolves.
unscathed. They didn't end up losing
But
anybody,
I
so
don't
that's
know,
good to
they
see.
did go
Influence
to,
Rage
like,
ends up
somewhere
losing
where I
another
thought they
player
would.
here, as
I
Wolves
think.
is currently holding them down.
I don't know where X-Force
Wolves,
is. Oh,
with
there's
all
X-Force.
their players alive through eliminations, now Influence Rage trying to return what happened
my
earlier
God,
into the
24K.
match to
Oh
X-Force, see
my.
if they can knock somebody, but oh my
He just
goodness,
got
Alim is just
beamed.
waiting there for Lorazin, as he's able to spot him. And you were mentioning an intense game there, Enigma. Now
He
they're finding
literally just
themselves in
got
an interesting situation
beamed,
here, as it's
bro.
not just
Oh
one
my
team, it's
God.
almost more than likely going to be 3 teams that they're going to have to worry about.
Oh yeah,
as
Wolves
well.
went to where I thought they went.
Alpha
Okay.
7 is just
I
sitting
like to fight
perfect.
IG.
Center zone, but Law, he knows Silence is there, but Silence doesn't know about the 1v1. Now he's
Law is
forced into it.
crazy,
Both
bro.
players having the S12K. The push comes
Oh.
through, and he actually just, oh my goodness, just one taps
Damn.
around the rock.
He just
Big
got bodied,
win for
bro.
intense game,
Holy
putting
shit.
their total to 5 eliminations. Silence having 4 of them, but they still got to deal with Wolves. The gatekeep coming through. His teammates actually rotated all the way to that eastern edge to fight Wolves. Unfortunately, Silence, he needed to land some shots more on the launch or give a little bit of pressure off the rest of the squad, but a good nade saves the fight for him. Baton now trying to keep the rest of these squad members back. And intense game, Taylor, they've got 15 seconds to work on the zone. Both these teams got to rotate in.
Yeah, the Wolves, man, they've got such a great spot up here. Baton was keeping one in check from the rock. He'll back away. Wancho's trying to get a bit of an off angle, and Wolves will continue to at least distance themselves. My only concern is X-Force might pincer them. So you got Wolves right in the middle of X-Force. You've got Intense Game on one side. Wolves might be in a lot of trouble, and they've got to pick and choose where
So I
do
figured X-Force would be fighting already.
because they have no choice. But Fate, they're taking the choice for themselves. That's going to be the first drop onto Wancho, as Wolves might be being put in the blender, and they will be. Only one more player remains. It's going to be Coops. He's all by himself.
Oh,
Question,
damn, dude.
damage control? Can we even go into damage control? Can he separate himself from X-Force in a 10 game and get into Quarry? I don't think so. I think this is going to be all she wrote for the Wolves roster. Now, we transition over to X-Force, who now has a decision. Do we want to hunt down Coops?
Dude,
Okay,
who's
maybe that's the easy
X-Force
job.
getting
But do we
shot
want to
by?
go ahead and get into zone, or even try and track down Intense Game? Well, for X-Force, I
dang.
think they're going to prioritize getting inside of the next stage. Coops
Yeah,
will
I think
eventually
so,
die off
too.
as he's going to. Valak should be able to mow him down. So good job. And a bad spot 7 for Wolves. Something unintended. They just weren't expecting
Wow, he
X-Force to
actually
roll
survived
up
the zone
whenever
out
they
there?
were fighting
What
Intense
the
Game.
fuck?
That's just usually what ends up happening here, but
Oh,
they're
what?
not on Wolves yet. They might
How
not end up
did
making it
he
to the circle, but if you
even
ever want to have a
survive? What the-
player that's able to clutch you up some extra points, the reason why he was able to get an MVP
Is
multiple
the zone not
times
doing that much
is because
damage
he's
or
able to
something?
get those extra
That's
points,
doing a
able to
good
get
amount
those
of
extra
damage.
eliminations.
I'm
He's
actually
already been
shocked
able to
he
get
got
one
24K.
elimination for his team after his teammates got eliminated. Now he's trying to find another one, and he's gonna be able to find it. Now he's up to 3. You know
Jeez,
what?
dude.
Make it 4. Why don't you? Even from the circle, it doesn't matter. He's just trying to clutch up as many points as possible. Meanwhile, we
No
look at
Coops,
the
I
map,
guess,
and
dude.
Alpha 7 is
That's
currently doing a
wild.
wonderful 2-2 split. They have cover as well if for some reason somebody decides to push him, and I'm just gonna call
I
it
don't
right
know
here
what
unless
the
something
damage
insane
is.
happens. Enigma, I don't know if you agree with me with the way Alpha 7 is currently sitting. I think more than likely this
yeah,
might
you're
be their
done.
match.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have 2 crate drops as well right after you wipe the squad,
Dang,
it's
you
really a
got both
good
of them.
feeling
That's
for that level 3
crazy.
department. Unfortunately, for X-Force, Intense Gaming was able to
Intense
make that
Gaming
rotation
7
into Quarry. That was on that
Jeez.
free compound on the eastern side of zone. But
Jeez.
X-Force, they took so long focusing Coops that they didn't even realize the compound was completely free. They could have had all 4 players up in one of the prime real estate spots in the zone, but now they got to struggle worrying how they're going to be able to get in. They're having to throw the smokes, loops as well. Might even just crash the compound before them, realizing if it's free for the taking. But a lot of these teams, that southern edge, that western edge as well, we're seeing it right now. 9Z, Globe, and Cold Goat. This is the guy you were talking about, 7, being the GOAT last year for MVP. Now, trying to take his shots to Team Liquid. But the interesting part about it is we're fighting on the mountaintop. We know there's going to be more than 1 or 2 squads scoping us, and
Okay, but
really
the thing
now it's
wrong
just a
with the
struggle of
Nicholas
who's
thing
able to
is,
hit their
like, oh, they
shots
didn't
while
realize the
moving
compound was
into
open?
the circle here. And
Dude, there's probably a team just literally
like,
sitting
the
there
first
waiting
team
for you to be in there.
question 9Z
Like, that would
Globe.
be my thing. You'd have to
That's
fight
right.
it
These
as a
teams are
4-man.
looking to engage
now
stage here. They're
2-man,
trying to see if they can find an
or
opening while hoping
risk
that
your
nobody
entire
else picks
thing,
up over this
knowing
mountain
that
and
you
stops
could be
them
getting
from
shot in
making
the
the push.
back,
There you go,
plus have
9-0
to fight a whole
gonna hop
battle.
in this vehicle again,
Like
just
I
waiting
would,
for the best.
I
As
would
they
be the
make
same
it,
with a
Cole
clip
goes
right now. I
almost
would
out.
not
There you
want
go. He's
that,
gonna
dude.
decide to jump out before the vehicle explodes and try to see if he can maybe start healing up. He needs to be careful though. There's
That's
too many
wild.
teams
How did
here,
he get
and
in
this
there?
is the story with Sandhawk, right? This is usually what we're used to. The absolute madness and somebody being able to take care of it.
You messed up by standing up there,
He's gonna
dude.
find Cardozo flanking from Team Liquid. He's not gonna be able to spot him, but Rages might end
Yeah,
up
I was
having an
gonna say.
angle here. Colgo doing his work and doing what he does best against Loops. Meanwhile, Team Liquid
How was
getting
he
picked apart
alive?
here by
Okay, I
9Z
was gonna
globing.
say.
Yeah, you got Loops, you got 9Z, you also have Team Liquid all in this area, and the
Yeah, now you
winner
switch
gets the
searches
dead
on
side of the
there.
map once it's
Dude,
locked
how
in.
did-
And for Team Liquid,
what the hell
well, they
just
might be in a
happened?
bit of trouble. One more player remains. It's Chief here on your screen. He's surrounded by Loops members. He's also got a couple members, I
You got
believe,
Loops
from
and Inco on your
who's gonna be
side, dude?
rolling up
You're
their hungry. They
screwed.
want maybe the third party too. You also notice Alpha 7's going to be dead center. They're going to come
Especially
into
when we're
play
two
after
up.
all of this fighting. All these engagements have settled down. They're in no rush. They're already at 5 eliminations. They're chilling.
Dude.
And for Chief, he's on fire. And I don't know if he's going to be
That's
able to get out of
wild,
this
dude.
one alive. Granted, I said that about Coops, but 7, you were spot on, brother. Coops ended up picking up a couple on the way out. Chief could do the same.
That's right, he could, but it's gonna be a little bit harder because now they have the whole Inco squad just looking at them. Earlier it was a different
Goddamn.
situation because you had Export just trying to make it to the circle. Chief, more than likely, gonna try to slow down. He's gonna have a lot of utilities to work here, especially with how many just loot boxes he has near him. Whether it's his teams, whether it's somebody else, it doesn't matter if you're able to put that utility to good work. Inco Gaming, though, this is a team that has been together, at least some of the players have been together for quite some time. They added Bruno's or Bruno as he's usually known from last year. He was in another team that made it to PMGC and just made a full run, and was shocking a lot of people, including myself. And on top of that, they added McGrellin. Remember, McGrellin was one of the players that Alpha 7 won PMWC 2024 with. So we'll see what this team's going to be able to do. So far, they've been able to clutch up a top 6. And right now, Alpha 7 is doing exactly what they need to do here. Just play your zone, play that compound. And if you are able to spot somebody, if you're able to make somebody's life a little bit more difficult, definitely go for it.
Yeah, it looks like as well. I think it was Loops took out X-Force, but now they're having to take the fight into intense game, and they were the team that was holding that quarry compound on that far eastern side, Taylor. And
Is that a
oh my
sticky
goodness,
ball?
I mean, what's the point of even trying to drive in if a nade's just gonna land on top of you? Alpha 7 adding
That was wild. I thought I heard the stick bomb noise. I was like, there's no way.
Taylor, this circle shift, we see it in the top right, dead on Alpha 7. Inco Gaming, I'm not sure if they have too much of that mountaintop to work with, or else Alpha 7, they might be able to just sit pretty and watch these two teams fight on the outside.
Yeah, I think that's what they're happy with. You know, 7 said it best. You know, Alpha 7, they're going to be a nuisance. Pepper shots, take players down if they can, if they get their line of sight. But for the most part, Alpha 7, they don't want to move. They don't have to move. They've got dead center zone. Everybody theoretically has to push into them. Alpha 7 doesn't have to push out to engage the other rosters. So just like Korea's going to do. Just any shots, any peppers he can do. Now, Eco, they are going to be a
Might as
full
well get
force.
two
The
good
10th
kills,
game will be
no,
down a
why not?
member. Alpha 7 still a 4-man unit. For Eco, they're looking to crash in onto the compound, but they don't get very far. They get mowed down not only from a 10th game, but also from Alpha 7. Vitali has no choice but to just stop and heal inside the car. Bruno, he's going to fall into the pop of blue. Eco might be on the way out very shortly, but a top 3 is a solid start. Maybe even a top 2, but it depends, man. Alpha 7 and 10th game. They're still up. They're still looking strong. Inco on the way out. Alpha 7 looking to start off
Out of
the
my
2025
weekdays,
Pmsl
bro.
America Spring Season
Out of
with
my
a big W.
weekdays.
And this is exactly what they needed to do there. Find their opening to push out of those
Crazy.
buildings and start
Dude, if A7 doesn't win
them
this
hurt,
game,
start
okay,
making them
yeah,
question
they've
where they
gotta
were going to be
win.
going. You can see Carrillo there with the beautiful nade. Inco is gone. It's going
Oh,
to come down to
my.
intense game in Alpha 7. Alpha 7 more than likely looking to clutch it up. They're making
Alpha
this look
7 is
easy,
always
as it's
fucking
gonna be
crazy
going
with
just
shit,
one
dude.
player left. Adrian not going to be able to survive,
Didn't
especially
even
when you
lose a
have 4
player.
players of Alpha 7 Esports going straight towards you, and this is why this team is one of the favorite ones to win it all and to go back to PMWC this year and win that too. With Squash, with Revel, with Mafioso and Carrillo, this lineup is looking scary.
Oh, looking scary
Crazy.
indeed. And it's nice to see them start off that
Alright.
well. Again,
Let's see if we can just skip through the yapping of these guys, dude.
Did we
Get the
That's it.
I feel like we can win this.
See what Coop has to say, because I'm curious. Dude, what happened to my sound, bro? Did my sound fuck up on my Streamlabs? My OBS? What happened? God damn it. So we're what? On 14 minutes?
That loves to land military.
Bro, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Oh my god.
But
I don't have a problem with it before, so deal with it. There we go.
To make it to the top 3 when we
was to talk.
Oh, so it's on their end.
Long time, now you're back. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back, and I feel like we can win this Pmsl.
I feel that too. I feel that too. And you brought company with you as well. You played with your friend in Europe. You're back with him. Who did he bring you back? Because he played here last year, or did you bring him back?
He brought me back. Juancho brought me back too. He said, "Come play with me." I said, "Okay, sure." So, yeah, he texted me and I said, "Okay, let's go."
It's really hard saying no to Juancho, man. I mean, that guy. He says, "Come on, please," and you just gotta go for it. So feeling good, feeling confident. You have a strong team. I feel.
Yes, we feel very confident, and hopefully we can win like 2 or 3 games today.
2 or 3 games. Let's go. Let's go. 2 or 3 games.
Bro, they yap so much. Zero thing has to say at least.
Whenever it comes to North America as a whole. Speaking of North America, we have Sarpatch who had a chance to sit down with X-Force's Fate. Let's hear what he had to say.
Alright, here with Fate now before the start of the day. Fate, 3rd time here on Americas. How important is experience? Like, are you like really calm now? Like yeah, I've been here already. It's nothing. Or you still get them butterflies? Tell me about that.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty important. I'm pretty calm. I'm relaxed. It's really just basically what do they say? Another day at the office, basically. So yeah, I'm more so relaxed. I see people that I already know, say hi to them, and then going to the venue, I already know the drill. Everything with your phones, figure that out, the headphones, and just basically get your sensitivity, your controls, boom, and then just get ready for game day, basically.
Is there somebody you were looking forward to say hi again or new?
Not particularly, but it's always nice seeing the people that do come up to you, or like if I come up to you, I give some examples, like the Team Liquid guys, Ayala, Mythic, they're always pretty chill. Nenebete is always nice to see as well. And my past teammates as well, Casper's here again, so it's nice seeing them for sure.
But it's nice seeing you too, man.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Let's take it home. How many victories today? Give it a bet.
My IGL said 2 wins.
Done. 2 wins.
That Fate was IGL.
Right,
Who's
2 wins
IGL,
now.
man?
Let's go.
All right, there's Fate.
And stuff like that, especially
Yeah,
you see a lot of those
for
competitive zones, a lot of those same
I don't know who's
spots
on the
get
team,
taken
man.
by squads. So if you're in one of these matches in Erangel and you get eliminated early just for that
Oh,
next
Val's
game to be
probably
the same
IGL,
circle
man.
shift, you're really going to want to play your cards differently. And we're going to be seeing it now. That first circle shift is going to be centered on Pachinki loops. Looks like they're doing a bit of a slip on Pachinki. And most people actually don't know this, Taylor, but Pachinki has horrible vehicle spawns. You're having to actually drop completely outside of the POI. You need to make sure that you're able to make the rotation because it's the best spot on the map. No one can deny it with you being so close to that southern island and you being dead center of the map. But these teams right now, with it being the first match, I'm surprised we didn't see too many hot drops going into this Erangel like we saw in the Sandhawk last match, but we might still be able to see it in the coming next few days if we're obviously looking at those point totals.
Well, I do want to point out, so keeping on board with the Team Liquid conversation, they're a roster that loves to land military. Surprisingly, nobody goes military, but it could have benefited them because Zone is, or at least Stage 1 is currently on military, more on mainland. I think we'll finish on mainland. There is a slight chance maybe we get a bridge in Zone. I doubt it. But they would have had all of that area to themselves.
The plane path wasn't even near
to their second
military.
default position, which is shelter prison. They usually split drop, and they're not often contested. They'll have Mythic Ayula, who is going to be inside of the next, or excuse me, inside of Stage 1 going in to Stage 2. So they're chilling for the time being. You're right, Enigma. I mean, there are no hot drops. You've got some teams that are
like, yeah, you can run military,
close
but like you'd
together,
have to fly there and
things
waste
are going
like
to be a
a
little bit
minute,
quiet. But we do have a lot of teams, though, Seven. We're going to be on the northern portion of the map who do have to rotate in, and you've got a couple of rosters such as Royals of War, Influence Rage, who could potentially be playing gatekeeper to Alpha 7.
I wonder
VIP.
if like
Speaking
7
of which,
WG
VIP
even knows
might be
what he's
making a
talking
trip
about. It's
to
kinda
Alpha
crazy.
7 relatively shortly.
That would be one of the ballsiest play. I mean, if you ever want to do that play now, would be it, especially starting off on the first day. Send a message over there. I'm pretty sure Alpha 7 would not enjoy that, and I'm all here for it. You know what? Let's throw some toxicity here on PMSL America, because it usually makes it for even spicier stuff. More entertainment for us, the viewers, and everybody else except for the players, which I'm completely fine with. But VIP Esports trying to find their way here. I think they're just going to be going to Sarky, getting some more loot. And going off with what you were saying earlier, Nigma, in regards to loops and Pachinki, the vehicle spawns, I completely agree with you. And I think that's why a lot of the teams that do end up, at least that I've seen so far, that end up landing Pachinki, they do a bit of a split, get some more vehicles outside of Pachinki, and then actually go back and figure out what they're going to be doing in regards to where the zone is going to be rotating if you are positioned in Pachinki.
I think there's like
yeah, and
3 or 4
unfortunately,
left.
we're going to be taking it just south
Yeah.
of them now with Wolves
There's
Esports.
Rowan,
That's a squad
there's
that
VIP.
they land in this farm split. It's an old split that
know,
Nova, I
Esports
believe,
was-
actually first created way back in the day.
Inca?
Being able to take that sort of drop spot just outside
think it was
gives you a lot of
5
vehicles, not a lot of
to-
loot to work with. But with the circle shift, Wolves, I expect,
5.
will hold some sort of split
That must have
play.
been
But
more. I don't
as
know.
we see on our screen, Team
I didn't
Liquid
watch the
starting to move
NA
towards them, and I'd really be worried if I was Wolves Esports. Holding a spread at some of these prime compound spots leaves you exposed if you don't get that first initial knock, and it looks like Juancho might actually even be the first player questioned from Wolves Esports side, but looks like they're going to drive by, and this is one of those scary moments, right, Taylor, when it comes to these sort of compound plays. Are you going to be able to keep these sort of big dog squads back that are comfortable taking these fights? But Baton,
Dang,
he making it look
Cardozo
easy
made a
out here.
Big mistake.
Cardozo, come on, caught off guard. Team Liquid struggles from last season to map 1 on Sanhok today to now map 2. Losing a player is tough. And for Team Liquid, they tried. They really did. They sent 3 of their players as quickly as they could to try and assist Cardozo, but they couldn't get there in time. And now they're at a bit of a standstill, holding down a building opposite of that of Wolves. But shout out to Wolves for capitalizing on that mistake. You know, that is, I think, again, they looked great in map 1-7. But they got caught in between the rock and a hard place, the rock being X-Force and the other one, I believe, being AGG, if I'm not mistaken. But then they were finished off. I think they could have had a deep finish on Sanhok map 1 if it wasn't for that situation. But I'm impressed with them. They're not playing overly aggressive. They're playing poised. Their pacing is great. More importantly, they're capitalizing on mistakes, even from the greats such as Team Liquid.
And I think that's something that we're going to be seeing a lot of just Brazilian teams in general. Even when at the beginning of the day, you tell me why everybody expects Brazil to do stuff, just because of aggressiveness. A lot of Brazilian teams are trying to evolve from that. They want to be able to have more of a switch in regards to aggression. And also, something I do want to point out there with Wolves, I don't know if Juancho meant to do this or not, but when he ended up shooting it while he was inside the building, it kind of forced that Team Liquid player to maybe look to the left, get a little bit distracted, and think about going for it or keeping on their rotation, and it allowed the extra players there from Wolves to just end up eliminating him. So I'm not sure if he meant to do that, Juancho, but it ended up working out.
As long as you get the elimination point, 7, okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's you shooting, doesn't matter if your teammate gets them, and that's kind of the role that Juancho adopted, right? We talked about it in Titan series, Taylor, with him kind of playing that more supportive role for the squad. If you have Baton and Coops both being those sort of fragging players on your squad, it's really hard for you to kind of shine yourself, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to put your teammates in those spots of success. And last match, obviously, it was just Coops at the end. in some nice shots from zone, but this time around, they're not having to work against blue zone yet. They're able to play their sort of circle, their spot in this zone, and we've been seeing a lot of it actually right now. Loops as well as Savage Esports making honestly the same rotation as Team Liquid just did, trying to get into that sort of western farm POI area, allowing Wolves to potentially pick up even a few more eliminations on rotation with it being this first circle shift. But you gotta be able to hit your shots. Luckily Baton was able to do that, but can they continue to do it?
It's crazy that Loops have a whole new roster from last year.
Loops wanted to see what that hilltop was all about. Well, they found out quickly. It was Royals of War's hilltop. They'll stay up there. Loops will back away into Pochinki and stay there, basically rip-free. A lot of vehicles still on the map, to be expected. Everyone trying to find themselves as close to center zone as they can be, which is getting pretty active now, 7. I mean, you've got Loops currently dead center. You got Influence Rage moving in, Alpha 7 there. Royals of War obviously just on the outskirts looking in, but I am focusing more so on Pochinki because that's where Influence Rage, Alpha 7, and Loops seem to all be congregating.
That's right. Absolutely nobody wants to end up playing edge of the circle. It seems like with how many teams are currently there towards the center. You mentioned you have Influence, you have Loops, you have Alpha 7 as well. Not only that, you have some of the other teams like Savage Esports that are gonna be rotating around. Not even able to spot them. And okay, with that switch, that's gonna make a little bit of adjustments here, and you can see Alpha 7 being one of those teams that, you know what, they're just gonna keep on driving and seeing where they can place themselves. They play that Sandhawk class perfectly, but I do kind of want to take that with a grain of salt because it is Sandhawk after all. I want to see what they can do here in Erangel.
Oh man, they're about to be doing something to this 9Z player. It's gonna be, I believe, Reyes hitting the slam, Cold Goat trying to give the support, but Alpha 7, they did this last match. They're fine taking the 4v4 at the center compound, picking up the one freebie. And I really got to question 9Z's split. They had this whole southern edge to work with. They opted to take this compound play, and they might actually even lose Cold Goat if Alpha 7's quick enough. Creo taking the shots down onto the vehicle. Unfortunately, you have to blow it up. You can't shoot him out of that car just yet, but Alpha 7, they find themselves with that early rotation, that full squad movement together, getting a pristine spot in the circle shift. And now the rest of those teams, Taylor, on that eastern edge, all having to take the same rotations towards Alpha 7.
That's right. All have to move their way in. That's Royals of War, Team Liquid, Wolves. The list goes quite literally on and on. It's quite polar opposite of what we witnessed from map 1 on Sandhawk, where there were so many teams, I think 3-4 teams eliminated going into stage 2, during stage 2, going into stage 3. This time around, we've had a couple of players lose their lives. Obviously from Team Liquid, they've lost 2. We saw Cardoza and Mythic very, very early on. But everybody else relatively healthy still, just firing some pop shots. Stay away from me, or at least respect me and where I'm currently at. I do like the way that this Royals of War Loops fight is developing, however. They drove past each other on this hilltop. They kind of felt each other out at least a little bit earlier on, and they're still hanging around each other, and they want it. They want this engagement. They want this fight, and at least for the most part, they just want to continue to keep their presence down 7.
Yeah, debating whether they actually want to take that fight or not, as Vios is going to be close by as well. By the way, I'm actually impressed with that Alpha 7 play. Even though it was just that one player from 9C, I'm impressed that this team is just deciding to focus more and more in center of the circle, because they're just so known in the past as well for being able to just play that edge and being one of the masters at being able to play edge of the circle too. So for now, for them, first 2 matches here of Pmsl Americas 2025, for them to shift their focus and worry more about the center. I wonder how some of the other teams are going to be able to readjust to that. And I think that's what 9C Globan was kind of caught down with their pants down with just one player there on that rotation.
And now we see it's going to be Shoot to Survive, one of our NA squads, making this sort of western rotation right into VIP Esports. Unfortunately, another NA team, NA on NA violence. Klaus being down to just 1 shot, trying to find a little bit of that edge play in the circle. We do see it. It does shift all the way down south. Nowhere close to this sort of western edge. Unfortunately, Bob as well getting knocked on rotation in the field. And this is the scary part about being on this Gatka side of the map. It's a straight field for roughly 200-300 meters. If you're not making the right rotations, if you're questioning yourselves like it looks like Shoot to Survive is, you're going to get caught out from these players that are able to shoot their weapons. It's not like Titan Series where some of those squads maybe can't be shooting their guns straight a lot of the time at range. This is the best of the best from our Western regions. And I really enjoyed, Seven, that you brought in that Alpha 7 conversation of them playing center, Team Liquid trying to do the same, but that's Team Liquid's forte, and we see it on that battle tracker on the right. They're down to 2 players. They only have 5 total points, I believe, so far. So them being a squad that needs points, not having the room to really have these sort of low placement games, it's not something you want to see. But unfortunately for Inco Gaming, one of our NA squads, they're going to be actually the first team eliminated from Loops Esports in Pachinki. I'm surprised, honestly, that they actually even took this fight in Pachinki, but nonetheless, 4 elimination points for Loops. Taylor, something you do enjoy seeing from the squad.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, indeed, Loops, very successful game 1. They were a talking point. They always are anyways when we're discussing Loops throughout PMSL, but even more so now, going from their consistency in game 1 over towards game 2, that's going to be a couple of eliminations coming their way. When we do look at the standings, I'm highly expecting them to be up in the upper echelon, and I expect them to stay there throughout the days of PMSL spring season. They do have to rotate into zone. They've got a little bit of time. They're taking their time in Pochinki, but Royals of War most likely going to be their next opponents, but that's no surprise. Even going back in time, Royals of War and Loops, they've kind of been dancing back and forth between each other for a notable amount of time. Shoot to survive. Very curious on what this long rotation means. Are they trying to get onto the backside of Loops? Well, I'll keep my eye out for that. We might see the pop-up on screen in just a bit, and there's going to be Klaus driving his team forward, going straight into Royals of War and Loops, who look to be right next to each other. I think we might be seeing a fight brewing up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea what they're trying to do here, but Royals of War with Loops, I mean, we've been talking about this fight happening, and it's finally going to end up happening as Royals of War being able to strike first. They're going to end up getting 1 knock, trying to convert it into that elimination. This split might end up working in their favor. They just got to make sure they don't end up losing any players, and they take care of this fight quickly, though, because of how many other teams now are near them. It would be prone to a third party in here if this takes a little bit too long. Royals of War now having to back up, and there you go. As I was talking about it, it ends up happening. S2S, none other than Shoot to Survive, being able to start their party in this squad, in this fight, as Loops is now turning the tables around and getting into the action there against Row 19.
Yeah, but they're having to eat the blue zone 7. They got to make the rotation in. Unfortunately for Royals of War, that actually might be working against them. They held a split early on to catch 1 player off, but they couldn't clean up the fight anymore. And now we're going to be shifting to the far western side. All Glory Gaming rotating directly behind Intense Game, but it's just Fran here. Can he get more than 1? Gets 1 knock, 2 actually, with the S12K trying to go for the thirst, but he's only got the M4. Intense Gaming winning the fight on top, not losing a single player, and that was a big 1v1 for Intense Game to win.
I did not expect I got to get both of them.
4th teammate as well, driving up. Intense Game, they secure themselves a spot in the sort of circle, but they got to make the rotation in, Taylor. And with 12 seconds left, those revives, 10 seconds each, it's going to take a long time.
Well, the good news is they stay alive, and they have an opportunity to fight yet another day. Vios Gaming, first time seeing them on screen, and well, it's going to be a great opportunity to showcase what they're about. They'll take down Royals of War, and just like that, 3 teams have fallen in quick succession. Inco, All Glory Gaming, Royals of War. As the zone gets closer and closer, smaller and smaller, the teams become more and more competitive. For Intense Game, they will have to rotate in. I do wonder if this is an opportunity for United for Gaming to take them out. Meanwhile, Alpha 7 onto Loops. Loops has been in between teams, most importantly, Royals of War. But with them gone and out of the way, they now find themselves replaced from Royals of War to Alpha 7. And Alpha 7 manages to get a couple of eliminations for themselves, therefore controlling the northern side of the map. And you can see the respect that they command. As soon as they push into Loops, Loops is forced to run away. But a new, at least opponent has come into the mix. And again, that's going to be Vios Gaming throwing their hat in the ring against Revo and the rest of the Alpha 7 roster, who has no choice but to reposition.
And that's usually why I love new teams popping up, because they don't care about your legacy. They don't care about what you have done in the past. When it comes to PUBG Mobile Esports, they're going to take the action to you, and they are currently in a position where they actually have to make sure they fend them off. Alpha 7 did end up doing a north rotation there. You guys mentioned it ended up working out in regards to them getting eliminations on Loops. Meanwhile, we're going to be switching over to X-Force, which is getting pepper from far away. Fate trying to see if he can at least revive 24K. That's not a player that you want to lose especially at this stage of the match. And you can see them just starting to readjust for that. They do have 3 eliminations to their name. On top of that, only 3 players alive, but I believe 24K is gonna end up getting picked up. I'm intrigued to see what Alpha 7 is gonna end up doing, what Vios Gaming is gonna end up doing, as well as Shoot to Survive. All those teams there that are towards the north, more than likely they're gonna end up getting pushed out by the zone whenever the next circle closes in.
Yeah, the circle shift right as this connects, I believe we are going to start seeing people take big damage from Papa Blue. Alpha 7 being the team that has to rotate in now. It's crazy as well that Alpha 7 was able to make that rotation up the mountaintop from the compound and backstab both those teams like Loops and Vios Gaming on that sort of eastern edge of the circle shift, and now being able to kind of weasel their way through 2 squads on the northern side. It really kind of just speaks volumes as a team of, you said they were playing that center spot. They got forced onto the edge off of the circle rotations, and they said, okay, if teams start making movements on the map, we're going to start moving ourselves. And now with that circle shift, it goes all the way up to that northwestern side. Shoot to Survive, I believe, is just going to allow Alpha 7 to control that eastern side. Compounds on that far northern side aren't something to really be playing too early on, but a lot of teams now, 7, full sending into the center. This is not what you want to see, and especially on a Team Liquid.
That's right. Yeah, you definitely don't want to see it on Team Liquid
my.
unless you got the numbers going your way, and it ends up working out for them. Team Liquid ends up getting eliminated their 13 plays with not many eliminations. By the way, for Alpha 7, they kind of leapfrog Vios Gaming in a way with what we were able to see in the circle. Now, once they end up closing up the other players, they might be able to just leapfrog them and gatekeep them in some kind of way. But for this team, oh my goodness, Wolves Esports, you're currently having a lot to work with, and you're gonna have to figure out what you want to do, because you are so far outside the circle too, and as the circle closes in more and more and more, it's gonna make it even harder to find an actual good little hay bale here where you can hide.
Oh my god.
Gosh, they're taking so much damage. We're drifting. In fact, they're moving into where Team Liquid unfortunately just fell, and they've got no choice. Guns a-blazing. They just got to fight the way forward. That's the only option. Influence Rage will also be just in front of them. They'll focus some shots on Vios Gaming, who's going to be just in front of them as well. And like you said, pick and choose. Where do we go? Well, Baton, he's going to be the anchor player staying back. The rest of the roster is going to be pushing forward to Vios Gaming. Vios Gaming, though, putting out some damage, but Wolves is answering back. It's going to be a push and pull, but it looks like Vios Gaming might have the upper edge. The first time truly showcasing what this new team is all about. And they are not wasting their screen time, not wasting their moments. But can Baton be the hero needed for this Wolves roster? Can he hit the car enough? Well, he cannot, unfortunately. And Wolves will continue to get pieced apart, piece by piece, player by player. It's Coops and Baton trying to keep the hopes and dreams alive. As that fight is unfolding, X-Force is also opposite of 9Z, another roster that has been playing out of this world. 7, you highlighted how good they are. Well, I haven't been disappointed with their performance. Up to 6 total points so far for this game alone. 9Z sitting at 0 eliminations, but it's still early going. It's a chance to finish off strong. Meanwhile, X-Force, they're at a current number of 3, and this fight, well, it's about to be underway.
That's right, in 9C, at least they have the advantage here that they are going to be within buildings. They're going to have to allow other teams to fight it out. Wolves ends up getting eliminated, and man, I would love to talk after this match ends about that rotation there from Wolves, because I felt like they could have definitely done a lot better with the situation that they were presented. But for now, X-Force currently 3 eliminations to their name, 3 players still alive. 9C Global still within the zone, is still within the circle. Right now, you just have to chill, let everybody else fight it out, and wait for the right timing, because if they can take care here of X-Force, they are going to be free to go, at least from the southern western side of the circle. And you have VIP on top of the mountain too. Just so many teams that are going to be able to just keep an eye out open for everybody to be out in the open, trying to hide behind the hay bale. Let's see what this circle is going to be giving us. Center, north, east. Ooh, it is going to be East. SB is going to be blessed by that, as well as Alpha 7 if they're able to pick up that player and find another hay bale to hide behind.
Yeah, but is it really going to be a blessing or a curse, 7? You just saw Savage in that circle shift previously slamming Team Liquid at that shack, so I'm expecting whether it's 9Z, X-Force, or even United for Gaming, potentially doing that exact same play onto the shack. VIP Esports as well, having to make that rotation in. A lot of these squads on the edge, you're really working with nothing. on this circle shift. You got those 1 or 2 hay bales, the shack in the center with the dip on it, but it's so free for you to pull up. You have to honestly get blessed with hitting some nades, and unfortunately, Vios Gaming, they're gonna get unblessed by Alpha 7 with those sort of frag nades, stuff like that. And for the most part, X-Force, I'm kind of questioning us even staying here so late into the circle shift with the blue zone right on you. Yeah, they have the vehicles, Taylor, but Milos, he was proning outside of the compound here. He's going to be playing spoiler on X-Force.
Valid with the nade in. They're pushing forward. You said you didn't want them to stay here. Well, they're going to take matters into their own hands. Oh, look at Milos. Look at Milos on the fade. They're on the opposite side. Fate spots him out. Tries to get the shot. He's trying to shoot the toes. He can't get it. Fate's forced to back away. But that X-ray vision making moments even more excited than they truly are. Remix up ahead. He might dodge the nades left and right. He's going to be all right. But Fate is now stuck literally behind a tree. He needs reinforcements. He needs his roster to back him up. I love that Remix is parking the bus in the back end. That's going to make the push even harder for the X-Force roster. But push they must, and push they will. And they are getting the elims needed in order to break away from this house that they've been stuck at for the longest time, 7.
Being able to find an opening, can 24K connect with any of this nades? He's not going to be able to, but they're going to be able to switch it. I think they're able to tell where that last player is going to be. It is going to be Remix, their last teammate during the Titan series. Is he the one that's going to stop him? And right now it is looking like it, as Remix and 9C Global is going to be able to just come out on top between that fight. X-Force, what could have been right there, especially with the elimination points going your way, it ends up backfiring for them. And then we end up going to another team, Alpha 7. I mean, they've been chilling here after they took care of Vios Gaming that was close to them. Now they have to worry about Influence Rage. On top of that, United for Gaming. Interested to see how they're going to be able to perform here. You can see them. They're still keeping that vehicle to their name, as Korea is usually known as the anchor. He's wanting to be the one that scouts a little bit more.
Oh, so we haven't noted it yet. Revo, 5 eliminations under his belt already. We know a lot of these players got that powerhouse factor to him, but he's just been in the last 2 games dominating every single 1v1, every single 4v4 with the squad. And I think the squad has just perfected the craft of playing around your players that are feeling hot. Revo, he's showing up day 1. He's putting that work in, and for the eliminations right now, make it 8 total for the team. We could see it on that map in the top right there, Taylor. Full dominance of this north side circle.
I mean, Revo's already had 10 eliminations combined from map 1 and map 2, and we haven't even concluded map 2. 10 eliminations for himself as an individual. That is more than the majority of the 16 teams competing across 2 maps. That's insane and truly special. I mean, come on, the guy can do it all. That's why he's MVP 4 times, and that's why he's on the best roster in the world, Alpha 7. For Alpha 7, they've got the vehicles and the utility, but they also have Influence Rage in front of them. But luckily for them, it's not as active as it is on the left-hand side of the map, on the west side, where you've got Savage Esports dancing around. VIP still holding on tight with their solo.
Okay, now you know that they're
Sour trying to stay alive, and then of course 9Z. But for Alpha 7, they got to get active. Influence Rage is putting on the pressure, and Flaw is taking down Mafioso.
Sometimes you get a little bit too confident, and that's exactly what happened there with Mafioso and Alpha 7, sending it a little bit too far, but they know what's currently at stake. They know if they can take care of Influence Rage, they will be able to be positioned perfectly to win this match as well. So it is a risk worth taking here for Alpha 7. Revel continuing on their performance there that you were talking about, Reflections, continuing to get eliminations, but now Carrillo's gonna get caught, and he's only gonna come down to Revel, and Revel, he's gonna have to park the bus. He's gonna have to wait it out and see what the other teams are gonna have to do now, with only being the last player standing for Alpha 7.
Snaking it out too. I think they just didn't realize Influence Rage had such a huge split on that eastern edge. They got the 1 knock off of Revo playing forward here, but if you don't spot all the players, you're relieving yourself completely vulnerable. And I think they actually got the knock onto Carrillo. They're going for a revive in the open, no smoke down, no vehicle to kind of go for it behind. So maybe a bit of a misplay from our superstar squad, but having enough eliminations already, this being in that top 3 position, Taylor, they still are getting enough points in our eyes, of course, to be doing better than most in the lobby.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Alpha 7's already done their job. I mean, Revo, after all, has gotten 6 eliminations himself. This might be the end, though. He's very low when it comes down to the bullet side of things. But I mean, you never know. Just like Coops earlier in map 1 on Sanhok, Revo, he's a scary player to be last alive, and he might be going against a full man team of Savage. He might be going against a 3-man unit of Influence Rage, but you
So
can't count him out
basically-
as long as he's
so
on
I
this
think
map.
Savage
I'm going to get
needs a
rid of him,
4v4.
and a lot of empty space up
And the
ahead.
only Influence
Nobody wants to
Rage
be the
knows
first
that
team
it's
to push
4v3.
forward. Everyone's grabbing their hay bells, grabbing the little
They're not
dips
4v3,
in the
It's just an
field,
odd man. So
trying to
there's
just
3
separate
teams
themselves as much as possible, using
I don't think
drops,
Savage
whatever you
realizes
can.
that yet.
And that zone will shift. The only one who's
Maybe.
currently in it is
Because
going
they're
to be
watching
Lil
Cookie
Boy
Baby.
from Influence Rage. Everybody else has to rotate in, albeit Savage doesn't have to go very far. But Revo's got the longest distance, and our solo from Alpha 7, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it in 7.
I don't know if he's going to be able to, but right now for Savage Esports is trying to keep this player alive. Can Octi stay alive? Because he would just be such a massive anchor, and he also needs this vehicle to hurry up and blow up so he doesn't have to worry about it. Influence Rage, you mentioned it earlier. Little Boy, he is crawling within that circle, trying to make sure he allows his other teammates to find a way within the circle. Yeah, for Remo, I don't know how he's going to be able to do it, but if he does end up doing it, you know what? Just end up trying him MVP right away for day 1 at least, because he's been able to put up points. But there you go, Octi, give him enough time and give him enough info while he was healing to at least tell him where he could possibly hit. Little Boy now trying to hide, now trying to have to move. Remember, he was throwing nades earlier, getting a little bit closer. Can he spot him? This nade might end up hitting, and if it does, it could end up meaning 2 players. Meanwhile, Revo doesn't care if he's far away from the zone. He's gonna try to go for eliminations, and Little Boy does end up connected with those grenades. Massive lead for Influence Rage as they're looking to take it. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he just did that.
Yeah,
Influence
Savage.
Rage. Dude,
I was
Enigma,
thinking
Lil Boy was set up early on. Diego also on the opposite side. Influence Rage, if they
Okay,
steal
now
this
Savage
game,
too.
I mean, they are stealing it from the hands of Savage Esports, who is so close to victory with the
9
man
kills.
advantage.
Yeah, and look at Diego. He's got that cross path for Snacks. He's able to spot him as soon as the circle starts to close. And with it being stage 8, we're going into nothing in the center. Influence Rage has all of the slopes in front of him. And if you're Savage Esports, you're really questioning that rotation going on. But you got to discuss that after the match. You're still in that 2v2 section. But Maurer coming in slow. The zone's starting to push him. He does have the ghillie
problem
on
is
here,
they had that
Taylor,
wide
but
open
does
six back
Little Boy
across.
spot it?
Yeah,
Diego actually
exactly.
finds Snacks, the slope working in his favor, and now the 2v1, leaving it open for Influence Rage to steal this 4v2 spot.
All right, Influence Rage well on their way to victory. 2v1, not guaranteed though. They can still mess this up somehow.
Oh no.
Marier.
How did he get across that road
Live
without being
versus
spotted?
snaking
That's
in.
wild.
Both players opposite of each other. This is the second time we've seen 2 players snake towards each other in the same game. And he's got Diego and Lil Boy lined up. If he can fire this appropriately, if he can focus both of them at the same time, he can clutch this out. This can still go to Savage Esports. The solo YOLO play, the solo with an opportunity to make it happen. Diego's got a hay bell, and that might be what it takes, but he's been spotted. Lil Boy's going for the finish, and it won't happen. Influence Rage will hold on tight to the win. They get it with 11 eliminations. And boys, we've got a new winning team up on the podium.
Not
Hey, 2
surprised
games.
at all there with what Little Boy was.
That's crazy, bro. Let's see.
Off of their game
Well,
to
10,
win. We'll see how far they can go. Still
okay.
early goings, not only in the season, but
Top
also
4 is
in
Brazil.
the day as a whole.
Just how it normally
Larmo's
goes.
not bringing them just yet, but who do we need to be on the lookout for, 7, who are towards the bottom?
That first place team, man. I know you said towards the bottom, but I'm just amazed at how Alpha 7 is playing. I called it out during that match. If they do it again this match, okay, now I'm actually going to be keeping an even closer eye on them. And I'm gonna, when I do talk about them, just a heads up for everybody currently watching at home, I'm gonna be critiquing them even more, because now that's 2 plays where they focus into the middle. But the thing is, this team is able to readjust. This team is able to play that outer edge, as they were able to showcase right here perfectly on this last match. And on top of that, I mean, the gun power's there, and Revo's currently popping off, and you wouldn't want anybody else to pop off like that man can.
Oh, without a doubt. If he's having a bad game, you're worried for Alpha 7. You do. The rest of the guys, they can carry the torch, but Revo is just simply that guy. 11 eliminations, leading the charge, and again, that's more than some of the teams have combined from all 4 of their members. Well done from Alpha 7. They lead the charge. Question is, can anybody catch up? Influence Rage might be one of those rosters to do so. Sarpatch had a chance, though, to do quite a few interviews at the start of the day. This time he had a chance to speak to Klaus from Shoot to Survive. Let's hear what Klaus had to say.
All right, here we are with Klaus from S2S. welcome to Brazil. Welcome to Pmsl America, a LAN event. How's it feeling? How's it been in there?
It feels good. The phone took a bit to get used to, but I think we're ready now.
And how's it be to be on the stage to see all the teams around you, all the other players? How's that feel?
It's new for us, but I don't think it changes anything. We'll just play our game and we'll try and win.
Not nervous at all. You're calm, and the rest of the teams are good.
Yeah, we're good.
They was just eating some Asian food. What were you eating?
Chicken fried rice, I think.
Nice. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get that some. Bro, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Let's go.
That play was crazy for the agency, though. I was really hoping that he would have got the 1v3 right there. I really would have gone crazy for that. Not sure if the ball was right there. You have to do all the angles back to back to back. It's more fun to watch go back and forth from angle, normal angle, normal angle. The fucking tails of hands are doing it wild, man. It's really boring in the field games, bro. I really hate this. They don't have anything to do. Like, I'm still charging up a little bit. Still play a game and it's just game based, so I don't have anything to do. It all looks like on my phone and shit.
And welcome back, everyone, to the 2025 Pmsl America Spring Season. I'm Taylor Reflections Double, joined by Seven and Enigma. 2 games down, 4 more to go. We're hopping back into air again. We've got it 3 times in a row. Better get used to it because it's coming back at you very quickly. And Seven, for these teams, they just got off Arigale, right? They know exactly what's about to happen. The teams really did fill each other out because that was incredibly slow and polar opposite of what we witnessed from the Sandhawk, which is incredibly quick. 3-4 teams lost going into stage 3. We didn't lose anybody going into stage 3. We lost a couple of players, but no teams. I'm expecting a little bit of the same here on Arigale as the teams continually try and figure out what's really happening and what's going on. For Wolves, been impressed with their play today. I really have been. They've shown great prowess. They've shown the ability to slow things down when needed, as which is again opposite of what they were last year. A very aggressive roster, in your face, like to be you know, the tip of the spear. They're no longer that team, right? When at least so far over the last 2 maps, 7.
I'm like, Wolves, you know what? You're playing good here and there. Seb, can we talk about that rotation? What happened with that rotation? As we were talking about it during the break. And please, bring it back to us three, because I want to have a bit of a back and forth here with Enigma, because I know, Enigma, you were saying, why shoot before you push?
Yeah, I mean, we have the vehicle, we drop baton off early, we're looking dead center in influence rage, and we're seeing Vios off in the distance saying, oh, we're gonna shoot them, and then we're gonna rotate right behind them, thinking that they're not gonna turn around and just put a few right into our dome. So a little bit too eager, I think. Maybe Wolves just got a little too overconfident, really wanting to get that engagement going. Maybe that blue zone stress was playing a factor, but I mean, you saw how I was in between the broadcast, right? This team, I'm not expecting them to be struggling with making those rotations. They had the time to work with. They had that far eastern edge. They should have been able to come up with a methodical plan. Not only them, but also 9Z, X-Force, that far western squads that were fighting at the compound, both taking forever to get into the circle. These teams right now, that stage 4, stage 5, I'm not sure if it's land jitters. You've obviously been to a lot of events there, Seven, and even you, Taylor, and just different mobile games and stuff like that. This is the moment where we need to see you get over these nerves, get over this pressure.
The problem was with Wolves in that situation
and be able to perform
is that they
when it
had
matters most, because
they
we only
heard
got
shots literally
3
at that
days
fucking
for
shack,
phase 1. We're already
literally right
through
next
the
to
first
them. You know,
Erangel.
like
You going back to back on it, Taylor.
the shack
you gotta
right
start
next to
performing.
them just got shot up.
There's not a lot of
And
time.
they
So
just
this is
wiped
the
the team
interesting
there.
thing about going back to back.
So if you're pushing it out, you have to fight
there is a
them.
benefit
Risk
to
getting
having
shot in the
map
back
spread out,
from
in my opinion,
the
from a
IG,
competitive
from Vile.
standpoint. You know,
And
typically
then
you got Erangel map 1, map 3. You
if
have
not,
Erangel,
you have to
and
go
hop
fight
back into
Vile,
Erangel
and then
map
you can do
6.
fine because they're not because
You become less fatigued, and you
Hurricane
also
Team
have
Liquid
a chance to, you
would
know,
be
take a
fine,
little
you
bit
know,
of a
like
break and gather your
that's the
thoughts
problem
before
with
you head back
Enigma's
into
logic.
Erangel, right?
Is
Because there's a map to
he
separate the
he
two.
played.
Now you don't get that
Yes, he
opportunity.
played
You don't get that
Pro PUBG, but like
chance.
that was
And
like
from a
4 years
competitor
ago.
standpoint,
Like this is totally
these
different.
3 maps, these 3
This
Erangels,
was how this is
especially if they're
looking.
not
Like,
going your way and
he
they're
just
not going
doesn't see
good, can
the
seem like a
difference
blur.
maker, you know.
And can seem like they go
That's the
by in the
problem with
blink
that.
of
It's
an
kinda
eye.
whack.
And before you know it, you picked up 2 eliminations across 3 maps. You finished off in 12th place all 3 times. And you're like, what happened? And now you got to then, of course, head into 2 Miramars, which, granted, will be fresh and you'll be ready for them. But it's like sometimes going back to back to back in the maps can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse if you're not playing that well. And in this case, I'm hoping it's not the curse for the Wolves, because they did show great prowess in map 1. Map 2, it got a little bit weird with the pop shots, but I will say that's the whole point of these phases, right? We got 3 phases. We got phase 1, phase 2 for the league play to earn your bonus points. You're going into the grand finals. So, Seven, I look at this as a time to just truly improve as a roster, as a team, and more importantly, get back on LAN. Maybe you haven't been there in a long time. Maybe this is your first time competing on LAN. Get those jitters out of the way, brother, because grand finals is where everything comes together, and that's where you need to be bringing your A game.
Yeah, for sure, especially for some teams that will qualify, especially from Pmsl. Sometimes they end up having those new players, and sometimes players don't even have jitters. It just happens to be a bad call, which I feel like that's exactly what happened there for Wolves, because they had plenty of time to work with, and I think they were just they got tunnel vision into what was going on over there with Vio's gaming, and on top of that, Alpha 7, that they didn't even want to make any kind of push towards the south, which at the time, keep in mind, this is all in hindsight for everybody currently watching. We do get a chance to watch the map. We do get a chance to see where everybody's currently positioned. But with the power that this team has, with Coops on the helm as well for Wolves, if they would have went south, they would have been able to take on VIP, and they would have had just so much more terrain to work with, and at least maybe extend their lives a little bit more. But ultimately, it didn't end up working out. Luckily for them, we do end up going back to another Erangel match.
Sure, and luckily for Influence Rage, we go back to another Erangel, because Sandhawk, if we had 3 of those in a row, I don't know if they would be towards the top as they currently are. I mean, they finished off with 0 eliminations, way towards the bottom on Sandhawk, but on Erangel, different story. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. They get first place and 11 eliminations, which is truly special. And speaking of Influence Rage, Sarpatch had a chance to talk to Diego, and Diego was a pop-up player in map number 2. Let's hear what Diego had to say.
All right, guys, here we are with Diego from Influence Rage. Congratulations on the second match. you guys are coming very strong from PMGC. You did great over there. How's the chemistry with the team? Parabéns por o jogo. Vocês jogaram muito bem. Como tá a química? Vocês bateram muito bem na PMGC. Então, como tá esse ambiente depois de isso, estando aqui agora?
Acredito que a nossa maior aprendizado foi a PMGO. Apesar do resultado bem ruim, a gente conseguiu aprender bastante e a gente vai aplicar tudo que a gente aprendeu aqui na Pmsl e ganhar o campeonato.
We learned a lot from the PMGO, especially that was our worst performance. We're gonna learn from that and try to be your champions here. Not much time, so thank you very much, sir.
I didn't think the LAN event, they just stayed there.
That's right, Sarpatch. Not much time because we're hopping into map number 3. Back into Erangel we go. For Diego saying a lot of lessons learned through PMGO. They're bringing those lessons here, which clearly paid off, right? That Erangel was phenomenal. The way they played that in-game was great. Did they stack up? Was there a chance maybe to lose it at second? Yes, there was. But did it happen? No. And therefore, they did exactly what was needed to be the winning team, be victorious. Here it is, map number 3. We're heading into Erangel. Chat, you paying attention? It might be popping up, it might not be. I don't know. You guys are the ones who got to be on your game here, because there's a lot to be earned, not only code-wise, but also to be earned just in knowledge-wise, watching the games as a whole. There it is. We've got our next Amazon gift cards. We've got a couple more being thrown your way. Be quick out there, because from what I heard, Seven's trying to take it. I joke, you can't. But Seven wanted to. He wanted to cash out. I don't blame him, man. Free money is free money, and we're looking to give it out to all of you out there. Erangel, map number 3. Let's get it started and see if Influence Rage can replicate their success with the first place. 11 military behind. Very.
Well, it's looking like we're going towards school here. That plane path going directly down the middle, it seems. A lot of these spots, other than maybe Hospital, George Pole being in reach. And the interesting thing, especially with a team like X-Force and stuff like that, when they get these plane paths, they've got that alternate drop spot, right? They've got that secondary. They usually go Primorsk. I believe their spot's going to be somewhere on that far eastern side. A lot of teams, though, with it being these new squads in here, right, Seven? A lot of teams potentially just opt to go to their main drop, but they take what's called that two-step rotation. They go for the vehicle spawn, maybe like what 9Z's doing, and they make that rotation far out into zone to play it later on in the match. And the interesting thing that I always enjoy thinking, we talked about it, of course, with this being the back-to-back-to-back map format, the second Erangel, how are teams going to be able to switch it up? And I mean, that's a big switch up, to say the least. The zone, it's not even on the map for some of this.
You know who's happy about this zone? Alpha 7. They usually go George, but because of the plane pad that were forced to land Lipovkans, was usually their second one. Meanwhile, I'm over here interacting with the chat. Everybody that's currently watching on YouTube, asking them, who do you think is going to win? Everybody started putting Alpha 7, and then that circle pops up. So for everybody picking Alpha 7, it looks like it might be likely, but you never know with what's going to happen because Team Liquid, as you were mentioning in the earlier reflections, I mean, this team, it's been I know it's only 2 games, all right, but I'm gonna be judging teams here differently, especially with what they have showed me in the past. And for this team, I want to see a little bit more. Hopefully not losing any players earlier on, especially with this map that has over 40% water.
That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, this zone is diabolical. This zone is going to be nuts. And for teams such as 9Z, they're going to go ahead and get on mainland as quickly as possible. They don't want to have to fight their way, not only through military, because they probably expect there's going to be a couple of teams they'll have to fight on that right side bridge. But, you know, also when they do go across the right side bridge, it's like, who's going to be waiting for them? Well, it could be Wolves. It could be Bios Gaming. So they're going to take matters into their own hands. They're going to fight for mainland, and they'll take their chances that way. From military, though, Team Liquid does go back to their homeland. They land military. They will have AGG. That could be a skirmish developing relatively quickly, probably towards stage 3, stage 4 on the right side bridge. But for everybody else, you know, still spread apart, kind of like they were in game number 2 on Erangel that we just witnessed. No early hot drops, nobody testing the waters, nobody wanting to fight just yet. And with this zone being as diabolical as it is, Enigma, I'm highly expecting teams to get a bit scrappy going into stage 1, into stage 2, because that zone with not a lot of mainland remaining, dude, a lot of teams are going to be very close together.
Listen, if we could have the player cams when that circle shift popped, it would have been the same as probably what Zfon and I are going to be doing, pulling our hair out of our head, because what rotation are you going to make if Savage decides to camp the water edge by Milta Power? What happens if the bridge camp gets in front of you from Wolves Esports, and you're the Team Liquid squad having to suffer through the blue zone. So much of stuff in this sort of circle shift is up to really the hands of other teams that you just wish you could rotate early. And unfortunately, there's this vicious cycle. We've seen it in Titan series and stuff like that. You make the rotation, you start getting camped, you go to the bridge, you start getting bridge camped. The interesting thing about it is with it being Americas, you're not sure where in that cycle we're really at for teams deciding to make their choices. So if you're a Team Liquid fan, if you're an AGG fan, you're hoping that maybe your team chooses the right play. And unfortunately, looks like Savage, they were actually the dead center team getting a knock early on from Alpha 7. And that's not the team, especially so close to you, to be getting a knock onto you.
That's crazy.
Once again, this team, Alpha 7, looking to get towards the center of the circle.
Where did he even
After
get
the
knocked
first circle
at?
pops up, it doesn't
Way
matter
up,
who's on their
bro.
way. It doesn't matter if anybody's on their way. They're going to just be
crazy.
taking the fight and going for it. Just a very disrespectful way to play for some players, but I'm absolutely loving it. Keep it going, Alpha 7. You're pretty much just big daddying everybody in this lobby, at least on the first couple of circles.
Yo, and we talked about that during the break. You know, Alpha 7, the way that they're playing is disrespectful to the teams, but I personally am a massive fan of that. You know, again, they started very slow during the fall season. This season, they're not wasting their opportunity. They're looking to dominate this lobby. Even though top 3 move on to EWC and naturally earn the bulk of the money when it comes to not only the league play, but also the grand finals of the Pmsl America Spring season, but they're looking to dominate those other rosters who do qualify for EWC. That's their home. That is their turf. They dominated that tournament. They won. Okay, and they're going back in, and they want to know that they're in the best possible position, and they're going to play the way they're looking to play on that main stage over at EWC. Bottom line, period, and they're playing exactly like that. Nobody's holding a candle to them, albeit, at least from the first 2 maps. Still plenty of time to go. You never know what the days are going to bring, but loving Alpha 7. Nobody's challenging them. I wouldn't either. They're hanging out, but we do have Inco kind of around that of Vios Gaming. Potentially a fight between them could be developing relatively soon, and I noticed there is a teammate from Savage who's going to be going out. There's going to be Octi, who's trying to just scout the horizons up ahead. But yeah, Vios Gaming, Inco, most likely going to have a bit of a skirmish later on, and Wolves looks to be pushing back Team Liquid.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, right? Is it going to be a matter of the bridge camp, or are you going to be able to make that rotation safely? And unfortunately for Team Liquid, they tried to get right in front of AGG. Unfortunately, Wolves just actually full 4-man stack on the gas station. You don't really even want to play right on the bridge. It allows Team Liquid to potentially full slam and you can go trade for trade to get the revives. But Wolves, they're keeping you back, and unfortunately, I'm seeing it on our map feed as well. Looks like AGG realizes Team Liquid tried crossing the bridge. Mythic being caught out potentially by one of the AGG members now. This is a matter of that time crunch, right? Does that clock start ticking in your head, or are you completely clueless of what's going to be happening? The shots do come down, not from Melgar, one of his teammates, but if you're all in vehicles, if you're so spread out like this, I want to see it from All Glory Gaming. It looks like they're going to do it full sending on a Mythic. The Grelin shots coming in. Melgar as well now, full slamming on a Mythic, but M2M, he gets put down by Mythic. That's one. He needs to find the next player here, but with both shotguns, it's a matter of who hits the shots first. Team Liquid needing to scramble to give the support. Mythic getting peppered down.
He's
No
not
chance
sitting
to
anymore.
heal just yet, and we're seeing it now here,
my
7.
God,
The 2v2 slam on the compound. Can you get the revives going, or will Team Liquid turn this fight around?
I don't know if AGG had realized there that Mythic had rotated around, and he's going to be going for a push here, trying to go towards the second floor. Going to be slowed down a bit there as he does end up taking some damage. But everybody from Team Liquid, they wanted to make a cool, easy rotation across the bridge. Boy, did that end up backfiring. Not only do you have Wolves on the main island, on top of that, you have AGG on your back. But now we at least have the full squad here, and AGG
If
needs to be able to
wins
readjust.
this, I don't think they realize
that was
that
on top of the
Wolves is
mountain is
camping.
going to start pushing down. Are any of those grenades going to hit? None end up hitting. AGG slowing it down, waiting for his last teammate, for Charlie that's currently in a vehicle, getting closer and closer as the next circle is going to be closing in. Chief does end up getting knocked.
Chief is knocked. He's down. AGG might want to capitalize off this. The gambit is tough to push those buildings. It really is. And We've seen teams lose their
Oh,
lives one by
dude.
one as they try to push up one choke point, which
Remember that never
ultimately
happens.
is
It
the
always
stairs from
goes towards
Elgar,
A.
potentially trying to get active,
At
just
least the
blind
first
firing
couple of
through the
times.
smoke. I don't blame him, but Charlie from the hilltop has dropped down. He'll take down
Oh
Cheap.
my.
Another one has fallen. Team Liquid might be on the out. Melgar with the finish, at least on one player, he'll reposition himself. I think Team Liquid might be in a bit of trouble. They only have 2 players left to fight. I believe they're trying to potentially stick a res. Ayala's cooking a nade, but not going to be able to kill. Well, it does get some damage, but not much. AGG has full control of this fight. Full control of the building. And all Team Liquid can do is look inwards. But the benefit, Enigma, is they do manage to get their teammate back up and get a knock on the Charlie.
Yeah, Fran needed to cross with his team,
That
having this
nade was
4v3
almost
instead.
lucky
He
they
sits
didn't
back
get
and he
me,
allows Team Liquid to get the full reset, and now
Oh.
he tries pulling up late, but the shots come in from Mythic. Teammates full slamming the stairs
It's
now,
all
the free
shotguns,
fires from the
that's
shotgun
crazy.
shots, allowing Team Liquid to
Oh
start pushing
my, they
themselves
have 4
up the
versus shotgun,
stairwell,
dude.
and AGG, what could have been, now down to just a solo. His teammate honestly
Dude,
body
why
blocking
not?
him, luckily getting
Dude.
thirsted out from Ayala, but 2v1 situation. The
Oh
stairs can
my.
be deadly and all the pre-fires come through. You're not sure which room the player's in, but it's all about the 1v1 here on the stairs, and they double up.
Oh
but
my
the shotgun
god,
shots
AGG
only
just
connects on one
threw.
Taylor. Ayala
Dude,
somehow
AGG
managing
just
to live
threw
with his teammate
that
getting
whole
knocked behind.
fight.
And the
You had
experience from
every
Team
advantage.
Liquid shining through. The veterans stay
Oh
alive in
my
a
God,
difficult
dude.
situation. Meanwhile, we transfer over to Vios Gaming in a fight of their own. We've seen them get scrappy early on. This map will be no different in map 3, and they're making good use of their screen time onto
Dude,
Eco.
Wolves
The
is going
question is, though,
down.
can Eco pull a
Vios
Team
is
Liquid
going
and
down.
reverse the roles? They're on the
Jeez.
back foot. Vios Gaming seems to have the advantage, granted only with Nunez, but Nunez is hitting some wonderful shots. Wonderful shots indeed, and it'll be no
Who's
different
using
with the player just
M16
up
in
ahead.
this?
Gets challenged from up top.
Oh
Hits the
my
shots needed,
god.
gets the
He
two,
has a
trying to go
1v3
for
right
the
now.
team wipe. He's got 2 more to deal with. Hits the shots
Oh
needed, but can't
my
get the
god,
finish.
dude. If he didn't
And
get
Vios
rezzed, he
Gaming
had
will
that,
get
dude.
eliminated. But hey, a job well done. 7
Oh
eliminations
my
and
God.
several eliminations and a wonderful performance on screen. This Vios Gaming roster 7 has proven to be a thorn in the side of
That's
so many teams that
wild,
think they're going to
dude.
roll up, get an easy elimination, only to have their hands tied as Vios Gaming pepper shot into them and almost takes them out.
They definitely have. And luckily there for Inco Gaming, there was nobody close by to kind of push there and create some kind of a third-party situation. But with the circle closing in, they're going to have to start worrying of where is it going to be going on. They're still going to be within the circle. They're going to be outside. One team that's going to be outside is going to be none other than Wolves. And Inco's barely outside as well. Loops Esports, though, they're currently chilling. They're not having to worry about anything. And another team that's going to be chilling is going to be 9Z. 9Z is going to be within the middle of that circle too. Let's see if they can end up grouping up too. By the way, going back to Team Liquid, Ayala and Mythic. Ayala played that so well. And I'm pretty sure Mythic is going to be saying, how the heck did he knock me? I was behind you.
Hey, but they did lose one, I believe. It is going to be a 3-man of Team Liquid remaining. They did get those 4 eliminations, so they're starting strong. But the scary thing is, we remember how that first zone was, right, guys? 40% on that eastern Mill to Water. We went all the way back to farm, and out of all the teams I feel the most sorry for, guys, it's got to be Wolves Esports. 4-man, they dropped here in farm. They dropped spread. They made that rotation all the way past Mill to early, hedging their bets that it's going to at least center up in the zone. God said, nah, we're going back west. We're forcing you back into the farmlands. And unfortunately for them, they lose both Doran and Baton. No eliminations to their name. Honestly, just hoping that they can get blessed now in this shack. But a lot of that is a lot of what ifs, a lot of honestly wishful thinking, to say the least. But Alpha 7, they're never about the wishful thinking 7. They're always about giving themselves a situation to fight through and shoot to survive. Klaus, the star player for that team, just getting put down early by Alpha 7 this match.
And this is one of the main reasons why everybody was looking forward to seeing what Squash was able gonna be able to do here with this team. And he's now up to 3 eliminations. And now Alpha 7 is looking to just reposition himself and play a bit of an edge here against none other than Shoot to Survive. And Shoot to Survive, I mean, if you can find Mafioso here, that'll be perfect. But I don't think they're gonna be able to, as Squash is gonna go back and pick him up. How are they going to be readjusting here? More than likely, they're going to be just hopping on vehicles and trying to leapfrog there the shoot to survive players. Meanwhile, on the circle, there's just a lot going on. We're talking about loops being there within farm. You were talking about wolves as well. I'm with you. It does hurt, Enigma, that wolves does end up landing in farm. They end up losing to players, and they're kind of forced to go back to farm. But I am happy, though, to see that it is Coops and Juancho, the two players that are currently alive, because we saw what Coops was able to do in the first Sandhawk. We saw him being able to clutch up eliminations and points for his team when nobody expected him to. So if there was ever a chance for that team to be able to edge out even more points, that would be it, especially with those two players.
For sure. And I know, Taylor, you're probably eyeing a lot of other teams right now, looking at the map feed. A lot of movement kind of on the map. I'm interested in hearing what kind of team you're really eyeing, especially with the circle shift coming up. Who do you think's really going to be that fragging squad in the lobby? And no, I don't want you to say Alpha 7 here, Taylor. I need another name from you.
Yeah, I was too. I was Alpha 7, but only because, you know, they went to a very comfortable spot over in Milta. Now they are having to rotate all the way around up top. So it's a challenge, I think, for any roster, but Alpha 7, they'll be just fine. Their positioning is great. But no, I think this could be another great game from Loops.
Yes.
You know, pretty much dead center. You got X-Force around them, but they're relatively comfortable where they're at. And X-Force and Loops do have history in the previous maps, and it's typically Loops who gets the advantage and gets the best plays against them. So I think Loops are going to be just fine. Now, VIP, all eyes on Dale because Alpha 7's rolling in hot. VIP has to battle against Alpha 7, and this is the battle for the coastline, and ultimately the battle to be opposite of that of Team Liquid, who's going to be just off to the right. And also underway is Influence Rage, using the cars as barriers to tree as well, but they're being pincered by quite a few teams. But as we focus on the Alpha 7 and VIP, this is an important fight to win. Winning this fight gives you the dead zone of map, or is at least as dead as it could possibly be. But VIP, a team that we haven't seen too much of in the previous maps, now has a chance to get some screen time, much like that of Vios Gaming has got. And I hope they don't let it go to waste. This is a good roster. Ayuya, Poppy Sour, some big names from the North American side of things who are looking to make some big waves. But Alpha 7 looking to shut them down immediately. Alpha 7, a team that has rotated from the right side of the map all the way through the north and now on the western side, taking down players along their path. Is now once again taking down yet another team, and it looks to be VIP and 7. I don't think VIP is going to be able to do anything, as Poppy Sour looks to be the last one alive.
Yeah, he's going to have to sacrifice those two players unless he just wants to give Alpha 7 another free elimination. But Alpha 7 making sure that they ended up picking squads. Now they're back to the four-man squad.
Dude, the guy's no tires. That's so messed up.
Game with Silence trying to do a rotation here within the circle, and there's just so many teams currently locked in, so many people currently looking in at this open field that it's going to be hard to make one. And there you go. At least they were able to use one and then try to cash here on Influence Rage. But Influence Rage was ready with this little divot right there. They were ready for Intense Game, but it's going to start switching around as Intense Game knocks 2. Can they knock 3? There goes 4, and they take over. Even though they take some damage in regards to some players getting eliminated, it is still 2 alive. And Coops and Juancho from Wolves are looking to get into the action as well, as Alpha 7 makes the push to VIP and makes it look easy.
Yeah, VIP getting cleaned up, but I need to know if we can get a replay either after the game or if this game slows down, because I'm pretty sure Padrino just 1v4 Influence Rage on their car stack, full pulling up, somehow not getting knocked at all, being in the dead open 3-4 squad, scoping you from afar, and being able to live after that as well. Intense Game really being able to survive and weather the storm, and that's a big moment in this match. That's center spot. Obviously they're not in the compound, but if they're able to at least get this next circle shift sort of their way, even if it's just a smidge of it on that center spot, they're able to really start farming potentially some of these other teams like Wolves, like Team Liquid, that have already lost players. But 7, I know we were just talking about it. Alpha 7, VIP. I'm not sure what happened with VIP to give them the first initial knock, but we all knew as soon as they got the thirst that it was going to be a wraps for Alpha 7.
It's the confidence that they're playing with, Enigma. It's the confidence that this
Well,
team
the
is
problem is they
playing
ran
right.
up on
Just
my rock and the
absolute
guy who got
disregard
the
for
first
anything
A7
that
guy
these teams
just
are
got
doing,
bodied,
and they're
so-
playing it smart too. I'm intrigued to see how they're actually going to end up performing now with this circle, right? They took care of VIP. Now you have at least Row here with a little bit of a height advantage. On top of that, you're going to have some of the other teams within the horizon as well. Let's see how this team is able to find a way within this circle and see what Alpha 7 ultimately is going to be able to do. But honestly, even if they ended up getting eliminated just now, you might be thinking, man, why are they hyping up Alpha 7 so much? It's because they're currently absolutely killing everybody. They're up to 8 eliminations.
And they're already in first place, mind you, right? The rich get richer. But what's impressive to me
Because A7
is
just runs
obviously
through the
they can
lobby
slant.
because
We
the
know that,
lobbies
but it's
suck.
been their route
Yeah, I'm not even
for
better,
this map
but-
3 again. They've had to take the long way around the zones and the stages. They started on the edge near water. Milta, they've then gone
Yeah,
up to
I'm
the
on the
northern
back.
side,
They're gonna
all the way to
fucking
the left.
macro.
And even now, they've got to push their way through.
Oh.
Alpha 7 has had to
Oh,
fight for
God.
real estate, tooth and nail, and they've made it work. Inco Gaming back on your screen. They were here just
Valak, what are
earlier,
you doing,
focused
Valak?
on X-Force, and 2 players from X-Force will now drop. The thing is, can Fate, we had an interview with them earlier, full confidence in conjunction with 24K, will at least get the final elimination onto one of the Inco members who now move their way upstairs. Kind of now the last stand of the Alamo. X-Force has successfully pushed Inco back. They're in trouble without question, and 24K and along with Fate are tightening the vice grip, and it will be successful. Inco will fall. During that skirmish, we also lost Team Liquid, by the way. They are gone on the rotation. They come up. They run into a bit of trouble against Wolves, who end up taking them down along in conjunction with Alpha 7. So for Team Liquid, 5 eliminations will give them the props there, but not the finish that they were hoping for. Next zone will be collapsing in just a minute or so, but in the meantime, finally, some space and some rest and a time to breathe for the teams will happen. As it felt like in that little short bit of 30 seconds, those big moments, 7, it was just non-stop firing back and forth, and we lost 3 teams within a span of at least 30 to 40 seconds.
And I am so shocked that X-Force was just fully committed to just paying attention forward, and they left their back open, allowing Inco Gaming to just make one of the, even though Inco Gaming ended up losing that, they made one of the
I just don't know why
easiest push. He
Valak
just
was
fully
sitting there
surprised
letting me
her.
open.
X-Force
He didn't get
was
behind the
able to
car
react
or
in
anything.
time to at
He
least get
seats
some
to get behind
eliminations, but
cover. He
Loops,
just
I mean,
full
we
on
talked
got out
about
of the
earlier
driver's
in
seat
regards
and
to
just
this
full
team, they
victory.
were center of the circle whenever we got that first circle.
Wait, how did
that
X-Force
second
go down? I thought they were still
able to
alive.
third party and now take care of the team. Now Loops has a lot of room
What the
to work
fuck?
with.
Yeah, we're talking, what is that,
so
8 players off the board, and I really felt bad for X-Force because Valak, we saw caught in the dead open. He was starting to make a rotation to potentially push Shoot to Survive on that sort of wizard tower right in that farm section, but unfortunately, ALM getting knocked immediately from the Inco Gaming pull-up, and then after that, it's just the freest fight for Loops. Now we see it, the circle shift does go up to the north. It's always a what could have been moment for those squads, right, that do get eliminated in these prime real estate spots. And now, Taylor, I'm eyeing that south side. I know you are. Alpha 7, Wolves, even Savage Gaming. They got to start working into that circle shift, and they got to do it now.
Yeah, no surprise. Again, Alpha 7's had to fight their way into each and every stage. They may make it look easy with 10 eliminations, but I guarantee you it hasn't been easy for any other team other than Alpha 7 put into their spot in their map rotation. They would have been struggling. Without question, it would have been tough, but Alpha 7 has managed to make it happen, and, well, good on them. That's why they're one of the best in the world. Not only can they slay out, but their positioning, their IGL leadership is just simply incredible. And I got to say, Squash is also pulling up the newest addition to this Alpha 7 roster, returning once again his 3rd time here. He's going to be the elimination leader so far in Game 3 with a total of 4. But yeah, you got Wolves. They only have 2 members. They've got to work up. For Savage, they've got 3. They've got to work their way up. And 7, my eyes do go to 9Z, who's currently inside of the zone. Could play the gatekeeper to several of these rosters looking to move in.
I mean, at this point, this team has had to do absolutely nothing, letting everybody else fight it out. And that is the way to go with it, at least for what we're seeing so far. Juancho's going to end up getting knocked. Meanwhile, Royals of War keeping a close eye here on Alpha 7. I don't think they know it's Alpha 7, but they don't want to allow them to make any movement. There you go. As soon as Squash makes a push for it, they make sure they clip it and they try to eliminate him. They're not going to be able to. and that could end up backfiring for them. And you can see them now making a rotation, now making a push there a little bit more towards the center of the circle as Alpha 7's trying to stop them. Just a little bit of a back and forth here
Dude,
between
what
those
are
two
you
squads,
thinking
and
right
Royals
there?
of War, as of right now, getting the better of it.
Yeah, but Royals of War, they got to be careful. If Alpha 7 even gets a knock onto ROW, the only play they have is to go forward. Luckily for Royals of War, Savage Esports is able to get an opening knock on Alpha 7, try to stall them a bit, but those are these squads that we've seen them have their pump-off 4v4s, those eliminations under their belt in the last 2 matches we've seen. And with this being Aaron Go, every squad knows every little nook and cranny that teams like to play, and now we see it. Snacks taking the peek over at Carrillo, trying to make the full send play in, but Royals of War, they're gonna forget that the solo's here, trying to get the thirst. Luckily, they pulled through with it, picking up at least 1 elimination under their belt in what could have been a disaster scenario, Taylor. Luckily, Royals of War coming out on top.
Well, finally, the gates are open for a new team to enter into top 3. Alpha 7 got first place in map 1, third place in map 2. This time around, they'll finish off in 7th place, albeit with 10 eliminations. The question is, who wants to be victorious? Will we have a new winner? Well, yes, we guaranteed a new winner because it was Alpha 7 Influence Rage before, so now the door is going to be wide open. And for Royals of War, they're looking like the front runners. 4 players alive, great positioning on the map, 5 eliminations. We've seen 11 as the highest eliminations for the day, granted across 2 maps. Can map 3 go to Royals of War in a span of 10, 11, maybe even, I don't know, 15? The possibility is there. They can drop big numbers, but they got to take the bull by the horn, and they've got to move up just a little bit. But if I'm them, I'm a little bit worried of 9Z and Loops off to my right, and maybe even getting pincered in between them and United for Gaming, who's going to be to their left. So they're going to have to fight hard, but they're my team to take this game number 3.
9C currently just holding this compound on this current circle as well. They're not gonna have to rotate, and luckily for them, Loops Esports, whenever they were throwing a bunch of grenades, seeing if they could maybe end up catching anything from 19 Globen, they didn't, which kind of slow whatever push they were trying to make, and instead they're gonna go over to S2S, shoot to survive, trying to make that push over them. One of their players does end up getting knocked. Gustasi getting knocked as well. What looked to be like an easy push here for this squad for Loops Esports is not looking like it, and now they're having a little bit even more trouble with the Molotovs coming down, stopping any kind of push that they have there. There you go, being able to take care of him there on the 2nd floor, but 2 of their players are currently knocked. Only Vitin is still alive, and it's gonna be hard for him. Now he's gonna decide to back off for that. I think he knows.
Like he's using a sticky bomb.
Maybe heard
crazy.
the C4 there from the team below, trying to make that push because he connect with this grenade.
Dude,
he's not
you
gonna
gotta
be able
make that in the window.
This is the question mark, right? Do you go for the revive? We saw Remix. It worked out for him last match, but for Loops, is it going to be the play you want to make? We see the nade prime 0.10, not even going to drop, actually. Loops getting away maybe with murder. Looks like a third-party opportunity. Actually going to take care of the shoot-to-survive player, Bob, down on the 1st floor. And I'm interested in knowing later on if Loops is able to potentially even get that reset going. But 9Z, they're sending it through, and the knock that rained down with the vehicle. Milos salvaging the fight for the squad. 3 teammates knocked. They gotta be worried though. United Gaming, they're turning right back around, looking for the 3rd party. And Milos, he's gotta just run away, Taylor. He's gotta just try to survive from the team pulling up. Leave your teammates. Those aren't your teammates anymore. They are the loot boxes for United Gaming.
Oh, and Loops is making a bit of a wide rotation. They want to get behind that of at least Mystic, which could be beneficial for Milos. The solo from 9Z. He's trying to make a heroic play. I believe in him. I do. He'll go ahead and back away for the time being and separate themselves. Meanwhile, you got Loops up top, and then you have United for Gaming, who currently has the man advantage. They're sitting at a 4 stack. Loops at 3, and then of course Milos for 9Z by himself. So all eyes on Rafina. Rafina pushes up, tries to bait out Mystic, maybe even bait out United for Gaming to make a bit of a mistake, but Mystic doesn't take the bait. He fires right back, forces Loops to retreat. And when it's going to be a constant back and forth, and there's a lot of open space in front. Really, the only thing that you have is the natural terrain to kind of stay behind. For Loops, they, I guess, have a little bit of the high ground, but neither team, 7, wants to apex that little bit of a hill that they have in front of them, because they know if they do, they're just going to get gunned down.
That's right, and I think this team, United for Gaming, remembers that there's still 1 player alive. They don't know exactly which team is going to be, but Milos is still alive for 9C Globen, so he could end up being a bit of a thorn here on their path. as they're trying to inch their way up closer and closer. But Loops Esports, they were able to pick up those last 2 players that were knocked back up to 3. Not a full reset, but at least 3 players. You got something to work with. I don't know what 9C, as we're kind of slowing down here, I don't know what 9C Globan was thinking there on that row 19 push. Maybe they thought it was going to be smart. They ended up losing too many players there, and none other than this team was able to take full advantage of it with United for Gaming. But a bit of a stalemate here, and it's gonna, I feel like it's gonna continue to be like this until we see a knock or Loops just fully sense it and be as aggressive. Okay, they didn't want to fully send it.
You're getting a little too over eager there, 7. Okay, I don't think they're going to be full sending just yet, but I think the big thing is going to be if Pmsl can maybe find Milos off there on that far eastern side. Can they get that snake dealt with? Because right now, United for Gaming, Taylor, you were talking about it. This is completely open hillside, and it's not a good hill to play. It's too flat, it's too open. There's not enough cover for you to be standing out in the open. If you can find Milos, really see that pop up in the elimination feed, you're able to start really working the zone. But it's stage 9 now, Taylor. These players got to start working towards the center, and I believe
I don't know why. I think Loops just has the
runner
advantage.
spot, but 2 players in the vehicle is
I
getting
think
a
Loops
little
is
too
gonna take
antsy for
a
me.
4v3 here.
Oh, look at this guy, Bettini.
It's either Loops is gonna take it, or whoever gets first knock is gonna take it. I think if Loops gets first knock, if they win it,
I want to try to get eyes on him if possible, because he could be the thorn in the side of my roster. Obviously speaking in regards to United for Gaming.
Gets first knock, then they win it.
Still,
I think it's just
a
whoever gets first
toss-up,
knock.
quite honestly. I know
Yeah,
United
I
for
think
Gaming
Loops
has
wins
the
this.
advantage. Well,
Because
I
of
say
the
that
knock.
not anymore. Quickly taken away.
Yeah,
And it is going to be
knocks it.
Rafina taking down Hate, and it will be a 3v2
How did he
now
see him in
as
that
Loops looks
bush
to take
then?
this final fight by storm. They do so, and they will be successful.
How did he
Loops
see him
will
in
take
there?
a
What?
big victory. 9 eliminations, their first win of the spring season here in 2025. But shout out to United for Gaming, making a big appearance, their best placing yet. 5 eliminations and 9Z as well, staying alive. Milos being the hero in that situation. The celebrations are in. Loop still very focused, but a talented roster with a talented performance.
Alright, I will
9
catch you
elims, 7.
guys
They set
later.